All right, let me do this again, family. I was talking muted. See how I always do? My nerves are always on shock. Okay, let me do this again. I had my thing closed. Okay. One more time. Sip your way to skinny. I am unmuted, yes. It's time to try Skinny Brew. This beneficial coffee blend burns fat, enhances your energy, fires up your metabolism, and sharpen your focus. Plus, it's perfect for intermittent fasting or a low-carb lifestyle. It elevates your morning routine with something new to sip on. Sleepy tea. Relax and unwind with the soothing herbal blend that helps you calm your mind, release muscle tension, and fall asleep effortlessly. That's what I need right now, some sleepy tea. Immunity. The best health defense is a strong immune defense. Support your overall immune function with just one glass of immunity a day. Life throws a lot of things your way, from traveling to taking the kids to the soccer practice to crowded elevators, and it's up to you to keep your immune system strong and to stay healthy, right? Immunity is here to help design to keep your immune system balanced and resilient with a superior formulation that includes key vitamins, elderberry, and mushrooms that you'll live your healthiest life yet. I'll get better at these. Okay, so thank you for taking the first step towards towards a new you. For all your wellness needs, go to ThaiByKadis.com. All right. I got that out the way. Assalamualaikum. Hey family. Assalamualaikum. I'm trying to get better at these commercials. Every week I'm gonna try to, anyone who has a product that's going to be for the benefit of our community, just email me at globalgreenbook@yahoo, and we'll discuss it, because we're trying to make sure that we keep the financial system within our community. So I'm going to advertise businesses, products for us, by us. So email me and I will give you details if you want to do a commercial on here. So assalamualaikum Amina S. How are you, sister? How are you? Min knowledge. Alhamdulillah. Shukran. Thank you for coming back. Assalamu alaikum. All is well. All is well. So let me go. I'm gonna get better at this. So we want to go. I want to go to my banner, and so peace and blessings, family. I have to keep myself very organized, because if I don't keep organized, I will be all over the place. So make sure you hit the like buttons, and so that this video will rise to the top, because the more likes we have, the more that YouTube will show it to selective audiences, and we want to share the information. So please hit the like button when you enter. So we're going to do this a little differently, I guess. I'm going to go ahead and share 3 words that describe sisterhood for me, because this is one of the things every week it changes for me, and so as it should for you as well. So the 3 words that came for sisterhood for me this week was encouragement, empowerment, and love, because I've been getting a lot of that. I don't think I would come here every week and and do it if I didn't, because I get my nerves up and I'm like, am I giving good information? Because that's all I want to do. Alhamdulillah, I just want to give good information that's going to help our community, build our community, show our community in a good light. So I'm hoping that I'm doing that. I was wondering where that light was coming from. That's my light from earlier working. I work from home as well. So I want to do a quick PSA. So at a BB2Me, that is a platform like Crackerbook, that is made by us for us. So right now I'm working on my BB2Me channel, the Global Green Book. It has information where we could talk more freely on it. So once I figure out how to get my channel set up, I will start doing more. We can have more open discussions over there. I will still keep this channel, but I'm working on getting the information that we really need to share to nation build onto that channel so we can discuss more openly, because it is for us, by us, and everyone doesn't have access to that panel. So I'm excited about that. So I've been with the BB2Me for a few years, but I just never could get it started. So anyone who is has their BB2Me channel, please email a sister and help her out, because I've been trying to get this together for a long time, and so I'm not there. Yes, but I'm working on it. And that Happy Companion, all right, we want to make sure he has a new Islamic thought channel to discuss more getting to know each other, because the goal is for we to get information out that's going to educate everyone about Africans and Islam, because there's too much separation as it is right now. So we're having we do the first half all Islamic panel, brothers and sisters, kind of sharing just little tidbits about Islam, things that most people would not understand, and the second half, then everyone will be can join the panel, and then we can have open dialogue, because we have to get along so that we can continue to nation build. And if we're divided on any levels, we cannot nation build. And the goal of what we're doing is nation building, so that we don't have to depend on those who we're not going to discuss tonight. So, and then the next PSA I want is that's it. So I hit both the PSA. So this is my Global Green Book channel on Abiba Toomey. It's not set up yet, but I am working on it. All right. So we're gonna do this is a part 2 from the show that we did last week. Okay, and so we're going to be discussing about healing. And I did not correct. Let me correct that now, because Brother Hakeem, he really made me aware of certain words. So we're going to be discussing healing the African family. We're going to start using that null and void word, because that word has no meaning when it comes to us. We're Africans. You know, we have to make sure that we speak it loudly and clearly, and so that everyone knows who we are. There's no differentiating between us, where we are all Africans. So did I do that correct? So healing the African family, the African man, woman, and which equals African empowerment. So we started discussing this last week, and we hit several areas. We discussed helping. Let me see. Wait a minute. Where? Okay, the recap. So we hit the area of the effects of living in an urban community, and I'm just going to break it down real quick. The areas, so you can go back and watch the video, but I kind of want to give you an opening so you can know where the direction that the conversation is going. So 1 second. Yes. So the effects of living in the urban community. So we kind of wanted to do a timeline of how our community got to where it was. So with that, we did the timeline where it started off with poverty was produced largely by housing discrimination, redlining, and then later public housing. The post-Vietnam heroin epidemic and organized gang activities in the mid-70s is when the phase Black on Black crimes became prevalent. Lyndon B. Johnson created the Great Society, which was domestic programs referred to as the War on Poverty, that essentially forced Black fathers out the home. That's when the mothers got social services, then when they came to your house, if there was any sign of a man or any kind of appliances or anything you would lose your services. So that was part of that agenda, removing the black man, the African man from the home. And correct me, family, when I do that too. Lyndon B. Johnson's Great Society, that it was Richard Nixon's war on drugs that provided black fathers with a new African fathers with a new permanent resident, the upstate state prison system. Ronald Reagan and his Reaganomics that defunded public schools and other social programs where children were now graduating without skills, because when I remember you would graduate, you would either know woodworking, auto mechanics, you had a skill, so you didn't have to go to college to come out and have a good life. The crash of the steel industries in the 80s and the crack epidemic. And then finally, the dynamics, all those dynamics together produce a whole generation of African children who don't know their father. So that it was a serious systematic thing that was going on with that. And today we can still see that occurring. And then we went into the areas of addressing the root cause for the anti-African racism, and we came up with resources in regards to dealing with the causes that we're still dealing with it. The PSD, which is went with the Community Healing Network, which is self-care for families and communities, homeschooling options for our children to protect our children. And we discussed about the prevention of them in regards to being and part of the new medical apartheid, with the B23-0171 bill being passed by 11 out of 12 council members in Washington, D.C. this past Wednesday. And then we discuss the signs of stress and trauma, how to be aware of it, because a lot of us have these signs and we're going through PTS, and are not aware of it. So it's we discuss re-experiencing, increased arousal, avoidance, disassociation, and all the things that you have to look into that. And then we ended with helping the African man and the African woman thrive. And we left off with the question, we didn't go into too deep because of the B23-0171 Keeping Our Children Safe, but it was basically, brothers, what you need from what do you need from your sisters, and sisters, what do you need from your brothers, and brothers, in what ways have you supported your sisters, and sisters, in what ways have you supported your brothers? So, and then we discussed the we also addressed the B23-0171 bill, which I found out, family, they did do an amendment on it, because the bill that was passed was that your children now can consent to getting vaccinations. They don't, if they're 11 years or older, so they do not need the parents' consent. In the school, and the original bill was the doctor, the school, and the medical insurance would not disclose that information to the parent, but council member Vincent Gray, he added a section to it, opting out that, and I'm trying to find it. But whatever, we'll get back to that, and I'll look for it. But I want to bring on just to catch you all up. So it was a serious conversation. So we wanted to come back for a second part, and then the sister here that I'm about to bring on, she is in that industry. She's a nurse and she has a lot of knowledge. She's an educator as well. I'm going to bring on Sister Latrice and her
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's nice to see you again. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Now, Sister Latrice, can you please at first share your YouTube page and information, and just give a brief introduction of who you are and what you do, because the last time you was here, we didn't really get to hear from you.
Yeah. Okay, so if I can remember, my YouTube page is Renee, Professional Nurse Developer. So I am a nurse. I'm an RN. Um, I have a master's degree in nursing. I'm a nurse educator, but I do practice, hospice nursing. I've been a nurse for 30 years. Um, I live in Fort Worth, Texas, but I moved from Chicago, Illinois, 3 years ago. So
Okay.
I'm a Pan Africanist, looking forward to hopefully, moving to the continent. I'm hoping in about another 6 months. So, so I'm excited. Thank you for bringing me on to your channel.
Thank you. And so I'm going to bring on also Sister Ajwa. Is she there? Let me see. Ajwa. Okay, she's not there right
Yes,
now.
I am. I'm here.
Ah, ah, all right, Ajwa.
Yes, ma'am.
I know I will get to know who you are, but I still would like you to introduce yourself really quick.
Okay, very well. Good evening, everyone. I'm Ajua Bandalay Asante. I live in New London, Connecticut. This is where I was born and raised. I have an honorable king man and four blessed daughters and two sons, and I'm glad to be with you all this evening.
All right, all right. So I hope I didn't talk too long in the beginning. I kind of wanted to catch everyone up on, this is part two of our conversation, and I know both of you all were not on the conversation. So I hope the information I gave you kind of gave you an idea like where the direction was going. When we ended it last week, we left with resources. I shared resources and options. And the whole thing with with the bill B23-0171, it hasn't been passed yet, but they just passed it this week. So what happens is when the mayor vetoes, then it goes to the council member, and then if the council members don't pass it through, then it won't come through. But the 11 out of 12 of them in DC passed it, so now it's in effect. But one of the council members, he did do an amendment where they now will let you know after it has been done.
Okay.
Is this only in DC?
Well, what's gonna, what they do is, they do it in DC first to see if it's passing,
Oh
and
yeah,
then
test market.
subsequently it's going to start going to every state. So
Right,
this
right.
affects everyone.
Oh, wow. What I do you mind? I didn't know if she was finished yet. So, of course, I haven't totally read into the bill yet, but I'm surmising. I don't really know, but I'm just guessing. Their so called reasoning behind it is that they're seeing an uptick in some of the childhood, diseases like your measles and so on and so forth. There are a lot of family members, of course, for whatever reason, for their own good reason, don't want to vaccinate their kids. And
Here are my
so,
baskets.
so in their mind, in order to maintain public safety, not to have another, outbreak in the midst of, what's going on now, I guess this is the reason why they're doing it. But I'm sure there's other agendas to it.
Hmm.
Yeah,
There's always another agenda.
right.
So yeah, I'm sorry. I was trying to go through my notes really quick. So one of the things that you know that is important for is how to move forward next, right?
Right.
Because there's when I was reading the council member, the timeline of this, the timeline is very interesting because uh, I'm gonna read a little bit of what bill says. It says, as an introduction, this bill permits a minor at any age to consent to receive a vaccine where the vaccination is recommended by the United States Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices. It also establishes that if a minor is able to comprehend the need for, the nature of, and any significant risk inherent in the medical care, then informed consent is established. That's troubling because I don't really know any 11-year-olders who are that discerning in regards to something as major as that.
Yeah, right.
This is some mark of the beast stuff. This is really creepy. I mean, 11-year-old can't buy a pack of cigarettes, but they can consent to an inoculation.
Yeah, yeah.
I
So,
mean,
this is the thing. We have to get the information out, but we also have to, start really, taking serious like the protection of our children and our family, and bringing resources to each other. Like that's what I'm telling people. Send me your information. Homeschooling. We have to start homeschooling our children. We
Yeah.
have to start. We have to start. If you're going to eat out, we need to eat from people that you can trust. So we have to really be very discerning on everything that we're doing. It's not a scare tactic, but if you know history, and if you and you won't allow it to repeat itself, but if you don't know history, it will repeat itself. So that's why it's also very important that we make sure we keep each other educated in everything that has transpired. And one of the things that I am picking up, a lot of our continental brothers and sisters are not taking the diabolical behavior as serious as us, because they are allowing certain entities into the country that have
Yeah.
been removed here,
Right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Certain very extremely rich people who have nothing to do with the medical field push medicine on them. We're seeing compromised leaders that they are voting in, being puppets for them. So
Yeah.
it's like we have to. I mean, we have to call out and just make sure we give the history, the detail, the information, and then like you, Sister Renee, you're in the hospital. You can give
Mm-hmm.
us comprehensive instructions on how to handle ourselves with our children, um, things that we may need to do to build our immunity, it's like we have to be very diligent in
Right.
everything that we're doing right now, and very methodical, because they've been very methodical with this. Because when I was looking up I'm going to just give you this information, then I'm going to let you all chime in really quick, okay? But
Mm-hmm.
the bill was first introduced March 5th, 2019 by Councilmember Che, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I can put the link in the comments if anyone wants to go pull up the PDF themselves, and you can go read the bill, right? So I'm typing it into the chat. Um, that's in 2019 that it was introduced, right? The mayor veto. Council members would have to vote. So 11-1. Trayon White, he's the one I voted. I voted for him. He's the only council member that voted against it. He's with Ward 8. I'm in Ward 8. Council member Vincent Gray amended the bill to include the provider shall notify the insurer that the immunization has been provided under the authority of this section. So the parents won't find out till after the fact, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then and how they are getting around parents is to allow a minor access to, the minor has access to the immunization records, but the parent does not. And the Amend Student Health Care Act of 1985 to require a physician to submit the immunization record directly to the minor's school if the parent is utilizing a religious exemption or is opting out of receiving human papilloma virus vaccine. So if the student or the parent is using a religious vaccine exemption, they're going to go around both the student and the parent. That's, I mean, I'm like sitting here like flabbergasted. And
Yeah.
then if the minor is utilizing religious exemption for vaccination, I jumped ahead, or is opting out of receiving the human papillomavirus vaccine, the minor student is receiving vaccinations under, they named the section of the District of Columbia Municipal Regulation, another number. The healthcare provider shall leave blank Part 3 of the immunization record. You listen to this? Received from the healthcare provider confidential, except that the school may share the record with the Department of Health or the school-based health center. So basically, the schools, the doctors, everyone else are going to be in control
Yeah.
of the child's record. So basically, the state is taking over your child's health care.
Right. In that sense, yeah. Hmm. Yeah, I do think that it's dangerous, because any drug you can have some reaction to it. And so, how do you determine what happened, to your child, and who is to be blamed for that? So, no medicine is 100%, and anybody can have a reaction, to these vaccines and medications. So,
Hmm.
it's unfortunate.
Yeah. So, one of the things that COVID-19 really
Yeah,
had some
exposed.
changes in regards how we can handle ourselves with that industry.
Hmm.
So I know if the child is going to have consent at 11, I know here, you stay with your child 24 hours. Um, does that mean that they'll probably have it so where you can no longer stay with your child when they're in their care?
Yeah, I mean, they certainly do that. They will ask, they talk to your child, and I'm sure they're going to give some excuse, like you were saying, if they were assessing for some type of abuse or what have you. So, yes, they're going to ensure that the child doesn't feel intimidated, with the parent being present. So I'm sure they'll come up with something. So what that's going to be, I'm not sure. But I would, and this is just me, my kids are
Hmm.
adults now, so I have to think. But if it were me, I would certainly inform my child that if anybody decides to stick you with a needle, you say, no, I'm going to talk to my mom first. No. You have to prep them. That's, I mean, of course, everybody is not in a position to do homeschooling. You have single parents, who have to work, unless our community here in the United States become strong enough where we're really unified as a community with helping each other. But since we are quite, broken, um, it's not enough support for, everybody to do the homeschooling type of thing. So,
Or even we start because there was so many African center schools here in the district.
mm,
But one of the things that was I found it was that for them to run, they couldn't use the government money so they to be
mm,
private school, because if they did, they were under they had to follow certain regulations from the
mm,
DC school system. So the
yeah,
private schools here that were African centered, they were really, really costly. but
Mm-hmm.
it was also they didn't have a large support of the community either.
Yeah.
So that would be one of the mindsets that will have to change, is that we will have to, like, just how they have all their stuff for their different donations for St. Jude's and this and that. That's probably something that we will have to consider. I mean, to me, this is on a large scale.
Yeah. Right.
This is medical apartheid on a level that we have never witnessed. We thought the AIDS epidemic was really bad, but this is something where everyone is being,
Yeah.
they want to force everyone to do this. Now, everyone wasn't, part of that epidemic. So this would be on a scale that we have never witnessed, because it's so
Yeah.
global, and it includes everyone.
Right.
There's no exempt community when dealing with this. And I know they're going to try to play mind trips, and you know, if you're on, they've already kind of tested it out, because I was looking at some of the timeline when uh it was a TED talk in 2015. I was sharing it on my Instagram page, and it was a TED talk where what is his name? Gates, right? Was talking about this epidemic, something that's going to take out so many people's lives. It was back in 2015, and he showed a picture of the coronavirus, right?
Hmm. Okay.
And I forgot about that, because I was watching African Millennial, her
Mm-hmm.
channel, and I was like, that's right. And it made me click and remember. So I said, let me go look all this stuff up, and I started doing a timeline. So when I did the timeline from when that started, and then this bill was created in 2019, right? So 2015,
Mm-hmm.
it had already been predicted, right?
Yeah.
2019, this bill was created, and it was put on hold. It was introduced, but it just never went anywhere. And
Mm-hmm.
then we had all of 2020 with everything that we've seen that's going on. And then last month they reintroduced, right during elections, into the new regime.
Yeah.
And then this bill came back up, and then it was passed. I mean, to me, the timeline is
Yeah.
um, it's very planned and
Right.
it's synced.
Right.
Because
Right.
we were so distracted with it, it's almost kind of like, I think the Orange Man was supposed to be a distraction for us. We were such a big distraction that we didn't pay attention to everything that was going on around us.
Yeah. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely right.
And so, and one of the main things is, like, has always been a concern is, and this is like information that everyone can find. It's at the this stuff you can go to the Library of Congress and find out. So this is, what was written by our government. So
Mm.
it's just, when you read it, it's almost kind of like
Yeah.
shocking. So, like, the NSSM 200 USAD, which most people know it as the Kissinger report, right?
Mm.
Has a serious highlight. It has a serious timeline.
Mm-hmm.
So, let me see. I'm trying to see if I can find it. And I'm not going to go through the timeline because it's a lot. So basically, um, it's called that acronym stands for the National Security Study Memorandum, NSSM 200, the implication of worldwide population growth. So this right here, and that's why I always tell our continental brothers and sisters, we have to educate you about the people that we live with. We know how diabolical they really are and can be.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
this was written in uh and it's also known as most people know it as the Kissinger report, right?
Okay.
'Cause that's
Yeah.
Kissinger wrote it.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but it was created December 10th, 1974. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and that was during Gerald Ford's presidency. And then it was declassified on December 31st, 1980. Um, uh, this document can only be declassified by the White House, and that was by Jimmy Carter, who was the president, who declassified it. Now, the thing that's interesting about this, back in the 1970s and 80s, in this report, the whole thing was about reducing fertility, and it was about it pretty much hit the gamut,
Mm-hmm.
and the focus of it was not over here, but the focus of it was in Africa. So everything in this report is really focused on international relationship, Africa
Mm-hmm.
mainly, as well as some other country, in the Asia, but the goal was depopulation and control of fertility. So that was
Oh,
getting certain things over there, right? But the interesting thing, it hit on like food shortages, famines, AIDS, employing women, right? Because
mm-hmm.
they really wanted to make sure that women are employed, adoption, and an alternative for elder care other than having children, because a lot of people have children for their older years. So that was another thing. They wanted to get people out of the mindset of having children. So like clinics and things like that. But also, which was interesting to me, because I didn't learn about certain diseases until the 80s. And this report was written in 1974. But in this report, it talks about AIDS.
Mm-hmm. Really?
Yeah, it talks
Yeah.
about AIDS. So when you read the report, it talks, it also has like the good and the bad. It's not like like that, but it talks about different options and this and that, but it addresses certain things that you're like, I didn't know they knew about it back then.
Right. Yeah.
I was 5 years old in 1974. I didn't hear about HIV and AIDS until the 80s.
Right. That's when they were able to define it, but
But according
it
to this, they had already defined it.
really.
Yeah.
Well, I
So
know
it
it.
just go ahead. I'm
Oh,
sorry, sis. Go ahead.
it was a case in the '60s, and actually, it was a young African American male who had died of the disease. Now, I would have to go back and and research what that incident was about. But I remember back in the '60s when this young black male, I guess he was like a teenager, maybe 14 or 15, and
Mm-hmm.
he died of the AIDS symptoms, and they didn't know at the time what it was. So, and this was in the '60s, but you're absolutely right. Um, by the '80s, that's when, the AIDS just, became pretty much known worldwide.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sister Ajua,
Yes, ma'am.
so what are your thoughts and like really like solutions in regards to how we can kind of guide our family, because this is the thing. We see that our family's been systematically attacked from, when that was, we covered all that for the last show. And then when, we see that now they're just going towards the youth. So
Yeah.
what are your some suggestions in regards to how we should move forward as a community?
Um, we definitely have to come together. Our ancestors underwent, this same genocide. And
Mm-hmm.
the evidence is very clear. Ray Charles can see, they're, it's the same old. So we definitely have to, when the going gets tough, the tough gets going. So we really have to come together. We have to make efforts to just be involved and be up. I'm really feeling that immunization pressure. I remember them freezing up my student loan at Howard because I didn't have an immunization. So I had to, in order to get my money to buy my books, in order to, just be able to do all the things that you can do, I had to go and get an inoculation. So this isn't new. You know, they've been coming at us. We have to stand firm. I know in each of the 50 states, people have fought inoculations. So there's, there are people that are, actively involved and, fighting this mandatory stuff. It's very creepy. It's very, to me, like, final days running like, the mark of the beast type stuff. And this
Mm,
retrovirus, something, how it works in you and how they can forever monitor you and all like that. It's just weird from the day one. You
yeah,
from the favorite
what I'm not
start.
liking, I keep hearing about this fetus, like, they're using stem cells. I'm not sure if that's true or not, but I just don't, I don't like anything that you don't, it's just not well tested.
Yeah, and I mean, if you think of who this is affecting, who's dying from this, AIDS affected homosexuals and black people. Those homosexuals is a community that white supremacists can deal without. Old people, white supremacists don't need them anymore either. So we just have to keep our thinking caps on and know this isn't new. But we have to organize ourselves and have and strategize and stuff like that.
Hmm.
And
Uh,
have groups like this and follow through and keep connections going because these are serious crimes.
um, okay. One of my questions is, I know for me, like, there's a lot of us who are just not aware. We're not online and stuff. We have to we definitely have to create ways of reaching our community. I know, like, for me, I try to open my mouth as much as possible. What are some other things that I know, and this pandemic has really made it difficult for us to reach each other.
Yeah. I
Um,
think, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, 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 go ahead.
Well, I think especially us, the African American community, and I use that specifically, that language specifically to identify those of us in America. So I think because the way we socialize is that something has to be catchy. We like to eat. We're very communal. So if we're going to catch people's attention, we're going to have to do something. We have to meet people where they're at. Everyone is not learned. They're not going to want to go through, all of these massive information. So you're going to have to streamline whatever information you have and probably give it to some people in bite size where they
Hmm.
can tolerate it. So you kind of have to be mindful of the audience, who you want to reach. So for us, in here in America, us Africans, um, we really like things that are catchy. And so and as I was listening to you, you were saying, well, how do we get moving on this? Because I agree with you. We really do have to create a real plan, a short-term goal and a long-term goal. So you kind of have to be deliberate about how you're going to approach the topic itself, what information do you want to bring forward, how you're going to who are going to be those players and partners, and who is going to do what. So that takes time. That is some planning. You don't want to overwhelm yourself, but
Hmm. Hmm.
think you are a person who feel the fierce urgency of now, and you want to move forward and not keep spinning your wheels and talking.
Yeah, we don't have time to do that because while we were distracted, they had been busy behind the scenes working, and they really got everything in their ducks in a row. And it was just really interesting when I was watching them vote on it, because they Trayon White, bless his bless his heart. I appreciate love him. He recorded, the voting, and they were super happy. They were all happy, about voting is in, and they came up with their spiel about how this was better for the children, and like really
Really,
like.
like,
Yep, like we were, incapable
Yeah.
of our children's health care. So it was really interesting, and he spoke eloquently. He was just like, I'm concerned because I have a 12-year-old son,
Mm-hmm.
and he was like, he said it's not the vaccine that I'm concerned about. I'm concerned about you vaccine doing it behind my back, right?
Right. Right.
Basically. But then they're slick about it. They're like, okay, we'll let you know after the fact.
Yeah. Right.
That's when they changed it, because the whole issue, like if your child has any kind of allergic reactions or what have you, and you all go to a different doctor than you normally go to, because people do move around and
Mm-hmm.
records are not always available, and they give this child something because the doctor had permission to. That's insane.
Right.
So this is definitely not about our betterment, because if it
Right.
was, they wouldn't have to go through such
Yeah.
um
That's true.
such
Yeah.
Mama Leah,
Oh,
yeah.
I'm
yeah. Can I just borrow from the Hidden Colors series? They talk about some positive community development, and I just want to make mention of some of these.
Yeah,
So
please
that,
do, because we need that. We need information like that.
okay, so number one would be to stop hating and cursing each other. Number two would be no devaluing intellectuals, control schooling, and end achievement gap, quote unquote. Number three, understand banking and stocks. Number four, be unapologetically who you are. Number five, write checks and have agenda. Six, create jobs. Seven, grow food.
Hmm.
8, manufacture and or sell something. 9, create a parallel economy. And
Wait a minute. A parallel economy.
yes,
Okay, can you when you finish, can you elaborate on that? Because I
sure,
want
I can.
to.
The
Yeah.
last one is create legal system, banks, and schools.
Okay.
So that's just more, just specific meat on the bones of what we need to be going after. Um, by creating a parallel economy, it seems to me, I'm not really advanced, but like people who do like Bitcoin, they like have their own stuff they trade in. And when you create a parallel economy, we could barter and still get the things that we need. We as a community used to do that because not very many people had money. So when you create a parallel economy, you kind of cut massa out of things. You go around that and you deal as your parallel economy dictates. But kind of like what our the Jews, the Shevardnadze types, where they circulate dollars in their communities and stuff like that. It don't have nothing to do with the greater community. They're enriching their community and they are supporting each other and things like that.
right. Yeah, that makes sense.
So we don't even have to take it to court. We don't have to. We can agree that this is our agreement and this is what we're going to do to help each other, support each other, whatever. And each one help another. Um, we can't just kind of corner ourselves and benefit ourselves. I come from a town with a lot of churches, and they do well for the people who own the church. It's like they run them like businesses, very much so. If you buy into their scene, then you get benefits that others don't get, kind of like a paying dividends and stuff like that. But I say that to say that's benefiting a few, and we have to be broad in our scope. We can't just be, narrow. And you're right, we have to go where we people are, and which is inconvenient for a lot of us. And just get to work.
Okay,
Good.
hi, Aishi. Welcome, Aishi.
Hi, peace and blessings.
Peace,
Peace
blessings.
and
I
Hello.
didn't think
blessings
you were coming
to everyone.
tonight. Welcome. I didn't think you was going to come
Of course,
tonight.
I am. I was coming a little late. Yeah, I was saying I was coming a little late, but I was gonna be there
Okay,
or be
okay.
here.
So, so were you able to hear any of the discussion?
I did. I heard some of it. Then I had to step away, but I did hear that the demonic bill was passed. But with some, what do you call it?
Amendments.
Amendment. I could not figure that word to save my life. Amendment. I think it's funny because I was just talking to my nephew about it, and without me even having to tell him, it looked like his mother or just being around us, maybe a combination of both. He's pretty hip to what's going on, even at 11. And so his response was, I'm not going to let them put any poison in me without me even having to tell him. He has he's just hip to what's going on. I'll say that.
He just has
It's just
good home.
sad because, like the sister said earlier,
I think we lost Aishi. Aishi?
yeah,
Okay,
I
I
was
thought we
saying
lost
that. Hello.
you. We're listening. We're listening.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Kids, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. So, it's just like the sister was saying earlier, how, it's so many things they can't do, right? They can't vote until they're 18. They can't drink until they're 21. Even with the legalization of marijuana in some places, I'm not sure the age limit, but I'm pretty sure it's either 18 or 21 that they can't consume that as well. So it's just all these, you can't get married until you're 18. So it's all these restrictions on certain ages. But then they can make a life-threatening decision at 11. And I didn't grow up in an era where malaria was prevalent or where polio was prevalent, although I know of someone who suffered from it. So, I'm sure it's real. But at the same time, I feel like the government is slowly but surely removing control from the parents. And I think that's deplorable. And I think that's even more reason why we should have rites of passage, because they're treating our kids like adults. And so they need to. I noticed that in other countries, the kids are more mature. They help raise their siblings. They have much more responsibilities. They cook, they clean. And although I'm a big proponent of kids being kids, America is not a proponent of kids being kids, especially our kids. Right? So we have to have it where we let them be kids, but at the same time give them rites of passage where we're discussing major issues about their bodies, because this doesn't kind of relate completely, but at 11 you can get pregnant if you come on your period, right? And I think we this is a perfect opportunity to prepare our kids for big responsibilities, because again, America treats our kids like adults, and so they need to have serious discussions about sex and serious discussions about vaccinations and not getting vaccinated, and just some serious discussions I think need to be had with our kids while still letting them be kids.
So okay. So when you were having these, when you all had these discussions with your children, how did you all start it off with them? Because a lot of parents do not um, discuss things with their children. They shoo them away. We have a lot of parents who need some parenting skills. Unfortunately. So if one of them came across this video, like how would you instruct them to? Because this is like something that they really have to get in their mind, that is how serious it is, so that they take it serious, so that they make sure that they educate their children properly. And you have a small child, so I know you're actively doing this. And did I put a lot on you, Aishi?
Oh,
Did I
I'm
lose
sorry. I
you?
didn't know you were talking to me. My apologies.
I know, I was
Sorry.
running my mouth like.
Because I was trying to, I was you to speak, so I'm like, okay. What did you say?
Like, so for someone who really is new to that, like a young parent, then they may not have the skills of how to relay this information. Like, how are you all educating, relaying this information? How are you sharing this information with your child? Because some people, you know, are not going to take it that serious. I know some people like this.
You know what? Yeah, it's funny because I have not um, directly spoken with my son about it, but he knows how strongly I'm against vaccinations. I don't know if he knows the name, but without going too deep into a situation that I had with my son, I'm personally against vaccinations, but there's two parents when it comes to kids. So, sometimes they may not agree. But with my son, I was very against vaccinations. And, a decision was made that I didn't care for. And I didn't really have a sit down discussion with my son, but I just repeatedly say to him from time to time, because I've taken him to get blood drawn. And he'll say, "Oh, mommy, you gave me a shot." And I'm like, "No, that was blood being drawn." I said, "Mommy doesn't agree with you getting shots." So I guess in essence, I am having that discussion with him, but I definitely need to have a more specific discussion with him, because sometimes to me, when I look at him, I'm like, he's still a baby. I just had him years ago, right? So I feel like, he's still so little, but he's around my nephew and he's around adults. And I'm realizing that he's able to comprehend more than I think he can, because I'm still seeing him as, so little. So I will step up my discussion and have more serious discussions, or, specifically tell him about vaccinations and things of that nature. But yeah, I have had conversations with him in terms of mommy doesn't agree with him being injected, or, him, anything but being put into him.
And see, that's where last week when we had that conversation, the same conversation, I was sharing a resource with the family, the Community Healing Network, and they have an entire outline where you can take it and sit with, like, your the person you're raising your child with, your family, and eventually make it a community. Like I'm really pushing this, because it's like this is something where we really have to create open dialogues in a smaller level with our family. I think Aishi's having some issues. Um, Aishi? Okay. So that we need to really come together and so that we can be learn how to talk with our children to display this information because I'm hearing a lot more conversations not happening versus that are happening, and that and sometimes it's just having some kind of guidance in how to get that conversation going. So, because this is a topic that we have to be clear. Like I have like a few people I have to sit down and have these conversations with, my family, because I just really feel like it's really important that we kind of get on the same page. Or we're going to start seeing some things that we may not want to see. And inshallah, that's not the case. I pray for the best. I pray that we're just proven all wrong. That would be amazing. That would be amazing. But
Yeah, no,
um,
I just want to say some of us do believe in the vaccine. However, like you
mhm,
were saying, we don't want them vaccinating, the kids without the parents' permission.
mhm,
So I think, when you ask the question, like how do you talk with your child, it has to be age appropriate. So, it wouldn't be a discussion, like you would have with an adult. I would say you would incorporate some type of play, you would incorporate some type of visual, like
oh,
cartoons.
that's nice. Yes.
Yeah. So you kind of want to soften it. You don't want to scare them, because kids, they have these imaginations. And, if you tell them something, it's scary, it's a monster. So, you kind of want to make it age appropriate. But you do, like you say, you do have to have discussions because kids are violated all the time. So you have
Mhm,
to be realistic, and you want to, reinforce that they have a permission to use their voice and to say no. So kids
yeah.
have to be reinforced that they have a voice. So,
Yeah.
but you want to incorporate some type of play in that, according to their age.
Yeah, I remember that as a child when my mom was trying to educate me about. Because see, I haven't had any small children in a long time, so I'm kind of disconnected.
Mhm.
So that's why
Well, I do have, my kids are grown too, but I do have grandkids.
okay.
I have
See, I don't have any grandchildren yet. So I'm still like, but that's right, because I remember now, my mom, she had visuals when she was trying to teach me, certain things about female and males. And so, yeah, that's true. Like because I
Yeah,
was like, how do you even start that conversation with a kid? Because I drew a blank. I'm not going to lie. And I'm like, if I drew a blank, I know somebody else might have drawn a blank. That's why I was trying to figure
yeah,
out, how do we start this conversation with our children?
right, yeah.
You
Yeah,
know?
you start with, little dolls and stuff and play like you have a little needle or whatever, So just kind of make it fun, but certainly reinforce that they have a right to say no.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I
especially.
do you have a phone issue.
Mhm.
I am. Yes, hopefully I'm good. I'm still, I hit the back to get out of something and it looked like it took me all the way out. So I'm still learning how to work this thing.
Did you hear what
Mr.
Leticia
Global,
said?
did you hear me?
She shared some good information in regards on how to share that information with
Yeah, I heard that. I heard that. So even though I wasn't there, I was still able to listen, awaiting to get back in the show. And that's actually a great idea.
hmm
In fact, tonight or tomorrow morning, I'm gonna see if I can find anything in cartoon form that will break down, to him, because the fact of the matter, when we were growing up, and I talk about this all the time, and of course we're gonna get solutions tonight, right? Instead of just always talking about what we
It's
didn't
about
have.
solutions. I knew I was
Yeah,
going to point
yeah,
out from somewhere, but that's what I was
yeah,
looking for, because you'd be surprised just the small things that that, someone might not click in someone's head.
Mhm.
So
Absolutely.
because
Yeah.
we have to find because it is what it is right now. Now, how do
Right.
we maneuver through it and make sure that we
Yeah.
keep each other up to date and current and the key is not to panic and
Yeah.
not to
Right.
panic our children. And
Right.
because that's going to cause another form of trauma, we're not trying to be part of that.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's true. Yeah. So, but I mean, it's wonderful, that you're trying to champion this, and it's going to take all of our brains because, all of us, not one of us have all the answers. So it's
Right.
of us.
When we go to Africa, not all of us are going to Africa. Some of us are staying here, right?
Are you
But
staying here, Empress?
inshallah, no.
Absolutely not. No, gracias. No, thank you.
I've been trying to leave
Nah.
for a long time.
Okay. I'm like, what? I was looking to go with you. Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm
True,
trying to be
true.
out. I'm trying to be out. And
You're,
family,
you're
anyone who wants to join, I'm going to put the link in if you'd like to join. Make sure you hit the like button. You have to do all the housekeeping and protocols. So yeah, no, but the thing is, I'm hearing stories and I don't know how true it is. I just hear like just how trusting some of them are in regards to other, because of course not everyone is bad, we know this, but you also have, but we've lived among certain behaviors, so we know the difference between like bless your heart or bless your little heart. We know the
Yeah.
difference between the two.
Yes. 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 Mm-hmm.
The same
You know,
words,
yeah.
different meanings.
You know what I've discovered through all of my years of working with the people,
Mm-hmm.
that this pandemic and my years of experience have really solidified that sociopathic is real with these people.
Mm-hmm.
They are sociopathic. And I've seen it up front, personal, up close. They are
Mm.
sociopaths. So
Uh-oh.
Wow.
if we are thinking that they're going to have consideration and compassion for us, less only for themselves,
Right.
we're sadly mistaken.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, and here is what I've done, like some little research and stuff, as it relates to slavery. There is no way you can tell me hundreds of years of slaughter and murder and generational of teaching. And when I'm talking about the other people now,
Mm-hmm.
and I have to say that because I'm still working for the man, and you know,
Right. Yeah. Oh, me
yeah,
too. I have to be very mindful. Yes.
yeah, right. So these people, who have done all of these, evil acts, teach their kids all through Jim Crow, and it not have the impact of causing sociopathic, serial, who. It has created these, demons in them. You cannot murder other human beings for hundreds of years and lynching, hanging, burning, and teaching your kids, that these people are not human and not expect that these generational impacts are impacting these people today.
Right. If we've had generational impact, right,
We have.
we're still
Yes,
doing things
we're traumatized,
from
but
the
what I'm saying, it has
so it has
created
to be
them
the
to be
opposite as
sociopaths.
well.
That's
Yeah.
right.
It
It
has
has
to be.
created, yes, it has created sociopathic in them, and certainly trauma in us. You can
Yeah.
have a conscience and do what they do. You can't. It's not possible.
That's
So this
interesting.
pandemic has shown you how sociopathic they are. You know,
Hmm.
they talk about, you know, their freedom and their rights, but no thought for, you know, human life, you
Mm-hmm.
know, none of the sort.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've seen some interesting things, in my travels, like I've gone to just in the DMV area. I've gone to DC, comparing DC to when I go into like certain parts of Maryland and Virginia, where there's a high percentage of
Mm-hmm.
like 25-20s.
Mm-hmm.
I notice the um, the lack of concern with the people around them, and it's interesting.
Yeah.
But and then I'm like, when they see the numbers go up, I'm so like, why are you surprised?
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And one of the things that I also heard in regards to this is that just with that's why on I was like, let me share, like, I wish one of my sisters are on here tonight, because she also knows a lot of good herbs and stuff that we could be drinking and taking and what have you. But uh you know I lost my train of thought, y'all.
That's the aging process.
I didn't take some memory pills. I lost my
I
train
know.
of thought.
I know.
um but I've seen some behavior that's really disturbing. It's like, it's just a lack of concern for your fellow person, you know
Mm-hmm.
Right.
not to get off the topic, but it is getting off the topic. Just like today, I just heard of another tragedy of a young to me, he's a child, he was 19, who
Mm.
um was
Yeah.
taken away from us because of a loud music.
I did read about that. I
Mm.
heard about that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because of what?
Yes.
Because I'm
because of
sorry. Because of what?
loud music. He was playing
Also,
music,
that
and
I was just
the guy got angry and took his life. And it's just a shame.
so that's
So
happened before. That happened before because I was just watching a documentary on a man in Florida who took a young man's life for the same reason.
yeah,
True that.
So yeah.
so that's that. So that hits on what
And
you
then he
said,
drowned.
Renee. Just
Mm-hmm.
the behavior.
Right. Yes.
So
Mhm. Mhm.
we're surrounded by this type of
Mm-hmm.
behavior.
Yeah.
So I always tell people, I don't want to think the worst, but
Mm-hmm.
we've seen diabolical behavior. I share the
Absolutely.
diabolical timeline,
Yeah.
right? And then we
Right.
know what the timeline was before that, which was diabolical. So, but this is more.
That's right.
We're being more concise, because I'm focusing on um, uh, we call it um not what is it, back, the
Well,
I'm trying to help, but what,
right. I'm trying
I feel
to.
like we playing charades.
I
I
know
know. It's been a long
virus,
day.
virus warfare. What's the word? Oh Lord, excuse me. English is not my
It'll
first language,
come.
y'all. It
It's
was
all
stolen
good.
from me. But they, like, we had a different type of war that they're playing with us. And we're seeing a
Yeah.
different type of genocide that's occurring from 1974. It's very planned.
Yes. Yes.
It's
Yes.
very planned. They're using their
Mhm.
medicine to keep
Yeah.
us sick, to make us sick. How many people take one medicine and then have to take another medicine to offset
Yep.
the effects of this
The other
medicine, and have to
medicine.
take another
Mm-hmm.
medicine for
Mm-hmm.
and then a person's on 20 different medicines for one ailment.
Right. Yep.
Right.
Hmm.
There's an author that
That's right.
touches on that too.
Yeah.
Just how um they're setting things up for us, to fail or putting
Mhm.
things against us. And I think I just wanted to add this to that is I think it's easy for them, unfortunately, to justify the behavior because
Yeah.
for years they have infiltrated a thought in their minds and in our minds too, that we're subhuman,
Yeah.
that we are criminals, that and so in order to
We are
teach,
2/3.
I'm sorry.
I said yes.
Oh
We are
yes, yeah. I'm
2/3.
sorry, sis. I was like, who said that? Yes, ma'am. Yes, sis. So, in order to treat somebody so badly, and that's a war tactic too. In order to treat somebody so badly, you have to pretty much look at them differently and paint them in such a terrible picture that you don't feel bad when you do things to them.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it's an author who expounds on that, and I can get the title before we leave the conversation, but he goes deeper into that and changes the language as far as, we say black on black crime. We have to change the language. You don't hear any other group of people saying white on white crime or Asian on Asian crime. So all these things, the way we're perpetrated in news media, until all praise to God, until these black news media such as yours and many other people come out and give information about us. Before this, we just saw very negative views of us, to the point where I don't think just white people believed it. I hear a lot of black people, our verbiage, our language. Oh, black men ain't this, black women ain't this, black on black crime. Oh, I don't want to go to that area. It's predominantly black. Oh, they make it. I mean, the language has, imagine how some black people feel. So you can only imagine how whites feel and what they have basically created in their heads and have perpetrated that to the masses. Mm-hmm. So to me, that's their way of justifying, unfortunately, the ill treatment of us.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes,
yeah,
they have time.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
They have time and time again proven it was the 3/5 compromise in terms of they will value us what they want to value us. It's
exactly.
the same thing with the dollar. They have no backup, no gold, no diamonds, no backup. They just like monopoly money. Places in Africa, they got gold, diamonds, minerals, uranium, all that stuff that they want to back up their money, and their money's not worth anything. You need a wheelbarrow of money in Ghana, and Ghana has gold. This country has very little reserves. Their stuff is all being propped up, and we have everything within our midst. We're the big people now, so we just have to boldly go forward, and we got to stand our ground and be supportive of each other. And we can do this. We can get through this. This isn't new. This is time and time again they've proven themselves what they're about. They planned for 10 years, so we have to plan, and we have to get ourselves out of this, because the world awaits us. The world knows what's up and knows that the genie is not going to go back in the bottle. Okay, too many people know. Before, people didn't have access to information and stuff. Now they know what's going on all over the world. And they're saying, what? Not really. Not anymore.
Yeah, that's
a period in that one.
Yeah, this movement is totally different.
Even in places like New Zealand, they had today, talk about New Zealand, that the indigenous people there are taking a stand.
Yeah, they still are.
And, even in places like Australia, anyone seen Rabbit Proof Fence? You know what they did in Australia, right?
Yeah.
They were trying to basically.
I've heard of that documentary.
Right?
Hey, African Millennial, greetings, sis. Welcome, honey.
Greetings, Miss Global Green Book, and greetings to everybody on the panel. I think this is my first time on your show.
It is. That's why I'm giving you so much love. So go ahead. Share your thoughts, sis. Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah, wonderful conversation. I missed. Sorry, the lady that was just speaking, but you were speaking facts, and that's exactly why I came on, because the hugest problem over here in the diaspora definitely has to be the way that we eat. And we've become so accustomed to it that we don't really realize that it's actually really bad, the stuff that we consume over here. Because my mom works in healthcare, So she gives me all the healthcare tea, so to speak. And she was basically saying that the median age that people are getting sick is getting younger and younger. You know, she was saying like back in the days, people would get dentures at the age of like 80, 90. But she's saying that people's teeth are falling out as young as 50s, sometimes even 60s. So,
Younger.
yeah. So and she was saying that it's definitely correlated to not just food, but also stress and things like that. But there's just a lot that people are going through right now. And she was saying that she's noticing that like people younger and younger are getting some of these sicknesses that they would get much later, like such as dementia and all these things. It's really correlated. So there definitely is a medical apartheid, and we really have to change the way that we do things and the way that we consume things, and we really need to change because we're the ones who get the least help, right? We're the ones that have the least access to resources, and like I was mentioning this before, they like that. They like that we're in those positions because then we become more dependent and we have more of a codependency on them, you know, because instead of figuring out how to I guess medically heal a headache without going to them, you'll go to them and buy Tylenol, you know, and it's even worse and worse. So yeah, we definitely need to pay attention to how we used to do things before. Like we need to get on these herbs.
Mm-hmm.
We need to get on these herbs and these spices and really start studying these things a bit more.
Yeah, like a cool thing I learned on one of my shows is pine needles, if you boil it, makes natural aspirin. So, you know, and we're going into the season where people are always taking aspirin. If you have some pine needles, family, start gathering them, you know, because we have to start being mindful of what we're even getting from these drugstores, you know, because, you know, we all have heard of tainted products.
Yeah. You know, some of the best people to go and see your chiropractors because they really do believe in homeopathic, you know, ways of healing. Because when I injured my back, I had a chiropractor. He was very much into, you know, natural ways of healing, along with, you know, his technique for, you know, for my back and everything. But chiropractors are good resources to
And
discuss.
naturopathic doctors.
Yeah.
Who's on one who's helping me, and they also can help you through the inoculation, you know, circus. In terms of, you know, they can, you know, get paperwork, you know, through saying no, I mean, whatever they need to say, whatever they need to hear to get you on the other side of these inoculations. I do want to recommend a product because it makes a difference. If it didn't make a difference, I wouldn't recommend it. But I know that we need phytonutrients. So this is Now brand, but I don't have Now stock or anything. I mean, they're not making any money off of me. But liquid chlorophyll. I find taking about a tablespoon of liquid chlorophyll every day makes a difference. And we definitely got to get that vitamin D going. We definitely got to get outside. We can't have. Oh, you got yours. Okay. And I see someone said moss. You know. Okay.
Yeah. So, family, if you don't know what liquid chlorophyll is, that's what it is. I hope you can see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the stuff.
Now, I get this from my naturopath.
Yes.
He has me on a whole regime because I told him I didn't want medication because I've been dealing with some health issues, so I'm working on it.
Right. That's the wise way to go. I'm aspiring. I'm proud of you, Mama Kadis. Mama Kadis is taking the Global Green Book from theory to reality.
We have to make sure that we're coming with the resources because a lot of us don't know.
And a lot of us know, and you give us a platform to come together and share. And that's very empowering. Thank you.
That's the goal. Welcome, happy companion. This brother, I give thanks for you.
Hey, hello. How you doing? Assalamu alaikum, everyone.
Welcome, brother. Yeah, so what are your thoughts? Have you were you heard any of the conversation? Or are you just coming in?
Yeah, there seemed to be an echo. I don't know if somebody else's speaker, got on his channel, but I know we continued on this again, and it's a good topic for sure. And I mentioned a movie, Three the Hard Way, with Jim Kelly, Jim Brown, and another brother back in 1974. It talks about that. I think you mentioned something about 1974. I can't remember, but I put that link up there. I saw it when I was a kid, and I was like, wow. And that's like, I think I was like 10 years old, 11 years old when I actually saw that movie. And so it explained about how they really are really trying to exterminate us in a sense. And also, besides that movie, just check it out if you get a chance, everybody. It's old school movie. It's one of those, what do you call those, black what's the exploitation kind of movies. But in reality, it does make sense how those um, whiskey Sierra people, how they trying to exterminate us. Now, the question I have, I know I missed some of this, is that is there like a registration process? Are they going to be sending information to our addresses saying that you must take this test? If you don't take this test, what are the repercussions of not taking this test? And they have a control over our kids because, of course, they have to go to school unless they're homeschooled. And also at work, if you work in the health professions, is that a requirement for people working in health professions or government agencies? Or does it go all the way to the civilian sector as well? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Well, I know for sure that they're going to, of course, force the health professions like me
Yeah.
to take it. So if we want to work, and take care of other people, it's really going to impact our source of income. It really is. So I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out, how to get out of this beast. But for the most part, when it comes to health professionals, you really don't have an option, if you want to work. But how the process is going to work and how they're going to roll it out, I'm sure they haven't. The thing that is so weird about this particular issue is that usually when it's a pandemic, when they are coming up, with a new vaccine that is going to impact, a whole population of people, typically you see a lot of health experts really speaking on the whole research project, what is going to happen, how they did these trials. Typically they're usually transparent, but I don't really see the level of transparency with this. You get bits and pieces. It seems like everything is, rush, rush, rush. And I understand, that we are in this pandemic, but it's something different about how the process is being rolled out this time. And I understand most of us have a lot of reservation, of course, when it comes to the vaccine. Now, I must admit, because I am a nurse, I have to, get lots of vaccines, including the flu shot, in order to work. That's it's a requirement. But just in general, any new research, any new medicine that you put out, you usually get a panel of real experts who are really speaking on it. But I don't see that
Mm-mm.
this time. So
That's the problem.
yeah.
That's a very big problem.
Right.
Yeah.
Really quick, Sister Ajwa, can you go over the health benefits of liquid chlorophyll? Is she muted?
And I mute myself. Okay, yeah, sure. Well, phytonutrients. Well, it all goes down to this. We need proteins in our bodies. Okay. Like cows are vegetarian animals. They grow big, but they eat a lot of grass. So, you know, you don't need to eat a cow to get the grass. You can go straight to the source without the stress and all like that.
And all the
Um,
mucus.
yeah, on a cellular level, you have cells, and cells form your blood. Your blood, they form, organs, and the organs form systems like the excretory system or the respiratory system and stuff like that. So you have to work on cellular levels to strengthen your body, strengthen your immune system. Make yourself, any little dirty tricks they throw at you, your body can just, drop kick them right away from you because your immune system is strong. So that's what you want to work on, stuff like that. Stuff, antioxidants. You have, due to stress, poor food, you have free radicals that build up in your body, and antioxidants fight against that. So some natural antioxidants are like garlic. You always want to have a lot of garlic, and little punk places like where I live. Man, my father worked. He retired from Charles Pfizer Pharmaceuticals. So Pfizer Pharmaceuticals is where I live. They live here. It's organizations like that, rackets, syndicates like pharmaceuticals companies. Are trying to make it so you need like a prescription or a license to buy stuff like garlic. So if you have a piece of land, grow. Garlic is one of those real aggressive plants where once it gets going, you don't even have to do too much to it, and you're going to have it. So it's natural. You can do that if you live in DC and you only have a little piece of yard, work your piece of yard.
Right. Yeah, you want garlic and ginger.
Mm-hmm.
Some cayenne.
High vitamin C stuff. Those are all good antioxidants. Coconut water is awesome. Things like Gatorade is really lame, but coconut water will replace your electrolytes. Coconut water has in it caprylic acid, and they try, like all manner of pestilence and vermin loves heat. Okay, so they tried to figure out, why are these coconut trees flourishing in the tropics? What's going on with them? So they did research, and they found out it's the caprylic acid. The caprylic acid won't let fungi and other things, attack the coconut. They just perish. So caprylic acid is a good natural antifungal. You can put it on athlete's feet. You can put it on, other parts of your body that may have fungal issues. Because it's good, and you can drink it. The Caribbean people, know about drinking coconut, or people that come from the tropics where coconuts grow know of its goodness. So yeah, you want to definitely tap into some natural stuff.
What about vitamin C and zinc? Because whenever I went on military deployments and we go on, they're always trying to give that to, hey, not really like an order to, hey, you must take this, but a lot of my comrades, my colleagues and stuff, fellow airmen and Coast Guardsmen, we would take vitamin C and zinc. Is that considered natural, or is that advisable for you all? What do you think? I mean, but it helped with me a lot. It helped the immunity. It helped you fight off the any kind of viruses. So just let you know. I mean, is that something that's good? You guys recommend, or ladies?
That's
Yes,
excellent.
definitely.
Okay.
Now, in Washington D.C. from all my DMV people, one of my sisters, and I'm doing a video on it. I'm going to do the opening for it. I already did the introduction, but once she does the opening for it, she's going to be doing what is it called? Liposol vitamin C drip, vein drips, so that you'll. What is it called? What is it called?
Oh, I forgot, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, she's supposed to be doing drip vitamin C, so that way you're taking it directly. You don't have to go through the whole process of drinking it, and a lot of people are doing that now. certified to give the vitamin C to as an alternative, as well as like also Sister Africa Here I Come. Elderberry is another one.
Yeah,
I
elderberry
have
is good.
I do an immunity. I shared it in the beginning. I take those tablets every day. It has elderberry. It has mushrooms. Mushrooms are also something that you should eat daily as well. Um, and I can't think right now of all the ingredients, but it's important to get these natural ingredients. Plus, if
Yeah.
vitamin C's, do the elderberries. You know, it will do any. It will only help. It will only
Yeah.
help. And to get it into those babies, make sure you get that acidophilus into those babies as well. That will help keep their immunity system strong. They have chewable acidophilus for them. Well as
Yes,
we can
yeah,
get the vitamin C that is not too strong, that they can take it as well.
yeah. Natural probiotics is really good. That acidophilus. Another thing is instead of feeding your children soda, give them kombucha. I like the Costco brand for anyone that deals that scene. But kombucha has probiotics in it. And what that means is your body has an internal flora, and negative things can outgrow the good things. The things that make up the inside of your body. So you have good bacteria and bad. Say for example, when you have probiotics, they feed your body the things that nurture your body and don't allow the negative stuff to outgrow the healthy stuff. So that's the reason behind probiotics.
Sound like I'm echoing.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out where it's coming from. I'm not sure.
Really? Maybe I need to.
Yeah, this is some good information here. Now, Sister Jahari, she just shared. Assalamu alaikum, Sister Jahari. Yes, natural raw ginger, aloe vera, coconut. It tastes horrible together, but it's good for you. I usually blend it all together. It kills all sickness. Yeah. Black seed is another one, but you gotta be careful with black seed because some people have allergy issues with black seed. I've learned. Um, but I used to give my children black seed drops. You know, like tincture. I would just put it underneath their tongues because I like tinctures better than anything else because it's more direct. It gets into your system quicker versus uh, liquids and things like that. I want to welcome Donnie goes in. Greetings, Donnie. Welcome.
Oh, peace, family.
I know we've been running our mouth. We've been running our
Yeah.
mouth.
Oh, it's okay. I just been sitting back taking notes.
Oh, good. So it's noteworthy. I
Yeah,
take
yeah,
that means a lot.
yeah.
Alhamdulillah.
We need all of these remedies. For the nurses in the chat, activated charcoal. Charcoal. I remember as an EMT, we riding with that on the ambulance when people are poisoned and
Yeah.
activated charcoal. And I'm wondering the process when they give the vaccine out and they strap you down and make you take it. I heard you can take the activated charcoal before and after, and it will help pull some of the metals or the poison of this vaccine out. What do you think?
Wow. I never thought about that. So that's
Hmm.
something I'm gonna have to look into.
Yeah, 'cause activated charcoal is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
I used to take it just to help me purge out a lot of the like Africa Here I Come said, purge all the metal. 'Cause we
Keep
intake
in
a lot of
mind,
metal. We wrapping our food in aluminum. No,
yeah.
don't do that.
But
You
keep in
know,
mind, because I'm a nurse, there's certain things I can't say because if I put it out there and I have a
we
lot,
understand. That's
Just
why
put it in the back chat.
when I get my BB2 set up, we'll
yeah,
go over there and we can actually have real conversation that because we have to make sure we get the real information out. But we want to get the tidbits that we can right now on this platform. So
yeah.
whatever you can share, it's good.
Okay.
I set up the account with the BB2Me. I'm just wondering if you know. I know you figuring this stuff out quicker
I'm
than
trying
I
to figure
am.
it out too. Yeah.
Is it a way where we can transfer our videos straight from YouTube to BB2Me, or I'm trying
Donnie,
to
you
figure out how
are.
to get my.
Don't clown me. I
I'm pretty
just
sure you
figured out
have
how
to
to get my
download your
account
YouTube.
even. I still haven't figured out how to get my account activated. I'm still.
They have like 10 different uh extensions. It seems like that all seem like it's different channels. So it
Yeah,
depends on which one you use to sign in.
I'm struggling. I'm
Yeah,
struggling.
yeah, me too. But I wanted to kind of push my content over there as well. And if it's something where I actually tried
We'll
to
help
upload
each
some
other.
video.
We'll help each other.
Okay,
Because it's important that because that way we can talk more freely. I still,
exactly.
we still want to have conversations here because the more people we can kind of reach,
Hmm.
and
Yeah,
then we can bring them to a safe space so that
Yeah.
we
yes,
can get down and dirty and do the hard work and put our sleeves up and do the work because we this is like something bigger than
Yeah.
I never thought in my lifetime I would see what happened in this 20. So the best is yet to come. So we are, life has given us the ability to be able to handle this and go through it because we all survived the 80s. So we're
yes.
ready. We got the battle scars. We're ready. So
Yeah.
now we got to take it to the next level.
I just want
So
to ask before I go, can we touch on the topic of, I think you mentioned about how can Black women treat
yeah.
the males,
I
our,
can.
you know, I know I hate the word.
I'll read exactly what I was asking.
Okay.
Brothers, what do you need from your sisters, and sisters, what do you need from your brothers? And brothers, what ways have you supported your sisters, and sisters, what ways have you supported your brothers?
So we gonna answer that first, or y'all gonna answer that first?
Well, I brought it up. So,
Yeah, that's good. Keep us on topic because we don't want to make this an all night thing. Well, that's not gonna
right,
happen anyway.
yeah.
But
So I have been listening to some of the discussions, on this topic. So there is some real issues, in our community as far as how we, relate to each other. So we have to be honest about that. But I also think, on the flip side, that how we deliver that either helps the healing or impacts our healing. But no mistake about it, there are issues with us sisters, and I'm not saying all of us because I don't want to paint all of us with a broad brush, but there are issues in terms of how we relate to each other, how, you know, African American, and when I say African American, I'm only speaking of us African people here in the United States. So when I say that, it doesn't mean that I'm, buying this, whole thing that I'm black and, but I'm just targeting us here in the United States. We have some serious, real issues, how we relate. And so a lot of that is dynamic. I know I hear a lot about the reason why um, African American women act out is because of the women's lib and, because of the whole, structural people. I'm trying to be careful with my words. That is true. A lot of that is absolutely true. But some parts of it, unfortunately, like the chronological stuff that you laid out, how the community has been destroyed, so many women uh, are single parents and they've had kids, as teenagers. So their capacity to, understand role models and how to interact, in real relationships is completely hampered, completely hampered. So we have to keep that in mind is that maybe 60, 70% of, girls didn't have their fathers in the home. They only had their mothers, and the mothers were young and still was trying to grow and develop themselves. So that's one of those big things, other than, like you say, the women's lib. But I will say, those of us conscious women, Black women here in the United States, are doing the work, and we understand. Now, for me, I would have to say, I'm very passionate about how we protect our Black men. And I know when we use that terminology, it sounds like they're weak, but I don't see it that way. We have emasculated our Black men when we say nasty things, when we don't, respect their manhood. We emasculate them. So it is a part of our responsibility to also protect them, just like we want them to protect us. And so these are things that we have to continue to reinforce, so that the younger women, what have you, can learn and understand that. But we have to start that in our homes and continue to reinforce that. Unfortunately, I do think some of us is so far gone. I don't know.
You don't think there's any coming back? I think it could be. I mean, I see a lot of changes in people since this whole.
Oh yeah, I do. Yeah, right. Some women who have, waking up in some self-awareness. Yeah, but
I started seeing a lot of, of course, there's always a few there's, you know,
right.
but
But
I've
yeah.
seen some changes. Would
Right.
anyone else want to elaborate on what Sister Renee said?
I think she brings up some really good points, and she's absolutely right in a lot of ways. I always tell people it wasn't always like this. I mean, we weren't baby mamas in Africa. We weren't made baby mamas until we were enslaved. And you know who made us the first baby mamas? Let's not take all the what you call it. I guess let's remember that in a sense where it definitely started from them. But I agree. We have been taught not to respect our men. And we talked about femininity before, right? And embracing that femininity. And I noticed me, for example, how I've been able to get more with what they say, more with
Honey.
I'm sorry. It's Monday. I'm gonna blame it on that.
Being sweet.
Right. More beans with honey than with vinegar. So I think now, mind you, if somebody would have told me that as a teenager, I had a different disposition. But I think we have to start changing that narrative too, and start respecting our men, and just respecting each other.
Yeah. Right.
That has to start today.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah, Sister Jahari, she said I asked the men in my family what they wanted from the women, including us in the family, and they said that they need us to listen more and actually hear them when they talk and say what they need.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, do you all
I can
feel that way
I can
when it
jump in
comes to your
and
sisters?
that we
I
need to
missed
listen
that
more.
part. Oh,
What's it?
yeah,
Did they say we're supposed to listen more?
I think so. Effective listening is key.
They said they said that they need us to listen more and actually hear them when they talk and say what they need.
Okay.
Hmm.
You got it, Saeed, or you want me to chime in?
Well, let's see.
Are you
Okay,
all
so it says,
scared? Are y'all scared over there?
they need us to
No,
listen more and actually hear them.
I got an example for you. So no,
Go ahead, brother. Go ahead, Donnie.
I
I'm
just
listening.
I just dealt with this with a family member, right? The family member wife called me. Then I talked to the husband. I heard all the sides of what was wrong in the marriage, and two things boiled down that I saw. The the man said all he wanted to do is have a little peace, and the nagging and the mouth was his issue. The wife said she's tired of him. He drink too much. He said that she mad if he bring dirty shoes in the house, or he's just tired and want to be left at home. He come home from work and he don't want to hear all the extra. So I think it's a disconnect on what the needs are. They're really minor. And I'll give you one example. I told him, he was like, well, if I bring my shoes in the house and it's mud on my shoes, then she get mad and she curse me out. But then if I leave them outside, then she get mad because I left my dirty shoes outside. So I said, well, why don't you just carry another pair of shoes, keep it in your car, and leave your dirty shoes in the car? And then you can avoid that argument totally. Just come in the house with a new pair of shoes, or you can even change your whole outfit when you come in the house, and it wouldn't be an issue. We did at the fire department all the time. We totally get dressed, take a shower. You ain't bringing none of that work stuff home, and that's one less issue that she has to say. But my point was about it, that all the stuff that they were saying, or the wife was complaining about, where she was picking at him because of other issues she had with him. It didn't have anything to do with that. And the way he was acting, I mean, a good dude. He's not going out cheating on his wife. They got young kids, and kids love him. He's a father, but he drink too much. And what she said to me is she's scared because she's coming out of a childhood where her father drank and was abusive. So when she sees him drink, she thinks that he's going down that road. I don't know if he is or not, but that's what she sees.
That's what she sees.
But she can't relay that message to him for some reason. So it comes out with the nagging or everything else that she's angry about. So it all boils down to effective communication, which is the problem. We don't have that because, men, we don't think like y'all think at all. Y'all say stuff saying simple, just say what you want. We be like, say what you want. You can't, or when something happens, let me know. We can't receive that when you describe to us 8 to 10 problems y'all done saved up that we done did all week. We need to kind of hear like when it happened. Then we can react and fix that one problem and then move on to the next one. If that makes sense.
Right.
Do you all have regular family meetings? Do you all have family? I'm sorry, go ahead, Sister Ajwa.
That would be very awfully naggerific. It's every time. Man.
Hey, you know what? Let me say that it's the, like, like y'all tell us, it's the way you say it. It's the problem.
Yeah.
We can receive it if it came with a nice tone. It never comes with a nice tone when you piss. And we can't receive that. And then when a man gets to a certain point where we had enough, we tune you out. You can yell all day, and it's like, I don't hear nothing that you said. So it's like we're not communicating again.
Yeah, I know for me, my temper is not pretty, and it shocks people.
Hey, that's hard to believe.
I can't believe she ever get angry at all.
It shocks people, but that's one of the things. I think over here, I'm learning not to be that way. It's a constant, because when I grew up getting beat down every day. Because I went to a Christian school, so they believe in corporal punishment. So I grew up dealing with aggression. So when I became older, I didn't really see it from my parents, but I was more aggressive because I was always on the defense, because I went to pretty much a white supremacist school, so they got their kicks off for beating this little girl.
In DC?
Shoot that.
Clinton Christian?
Yeah, one of my kids went there. I think my
I went
son went there.
I went to Clinton Christian when they still had corporal punishment. We were the first children of a different background to be allowed to go to that school, and they didn't want us. They had their accreditation threatened if they did not allow us to come to the school. I went there, I think, in 19. I ain't gonna date myself, but anyway.
We get the
but
point.
Well, Mama Kadis, I know without a shadow of a doubt, if need be, you will open up a can on somebody. You know, I just know it.
yeah.
You know, I don't care.
You know,
Howard
not
shows
to
his
make this
mind, okay?
conversation because we're going to end this conversation soon. But I was a fighter. I was a fighter, and you learned that here. But and this is the thing. When I went over to Africa, I saw just the difference in how we interact with our men. It's like we grow up fighting each other. You
Yeah,
know,
we did.
um, I was a tomboy, so I was playing with the boy. We
Yeah,
fought, and so now we have this behavior of the community, and we're adults, and we're still kind of displaying that sandbox behavior with each other.
right,
So
right.
that's one of the things. That's why I know I keep talking about, we got to start doing the work, and we need to start with our wife. Like, let's have family meetings and like do building sessions and do like healing sessions, and let's work together so that we can start learning how to uneducate how we interact on this aggressive level, because it's not going to propel us to doing more than what we're stagnant right now because
Can
of
I
all.
say something? Mama
Yes,
Kadis,
ma'am.
can I say something?
Yes, ma'am.
Ultimately, and this is the glue that has kept my marriage together for 22 years.
Please speak, because you got a wonderful marriage.
We have to agree to disagree, but not be disagreeable. Okay? We can agree to disagree, but we don't have to act disagreeable. We don't have to be, against each other. And I'll let you in on another little secret, just us. Okay? My husband always talks about roles and how there are men roles and women roles, and women come with the virtue of communication. It's just something that we do better. If certain things brothers do better than women, that's it. I mean, across the board, no matter how you slice it. So we come with the art of communication. So if we really master our art, we can agree to disagree and not be disagreeable. We can, it's not what we say, but how we say it, so we can just work on our delivery. I've gotten to the point in my marriage now where I want a certain outcome. So I can go down this path and I'm going to yield that type of outcome, or I could just, pause for a few seconds and recollect myself and go down a better path where I'm sure to achieve a better outcome. Sometimes it takes 2 or 3 seconds to, really
Mhm.
together.
Yeah, and you are. I've seen some of you and your husband's interaction, and not every household has such a great way of bantering, as I would like to call it, where you all can go back and forth, exchange ideas, and you're sitting there watching it, and it's a piece of art, because not everyone has mastered that skill as eloquently as you and your husband have, because I've seen just the opposite. And so if that's what more of us should strive for, is how to better communicate with each other. And women, I see how we talk to our babies, you know, on the bus in urban areas. I can't speak in rural or anything else. It's in the urban area, and that's something that we have to really work on, because if we're fighting our children and we're fighting our husbands and we're fighting our sisters, like who is going to protect us?
Yeah.
I
Interesting.
might say this. This probably sound cruel, and y'all might be mad about this one, but it's a certain group of these young people that I would like to all load them up in the RFK Stadium, invite Lil Wayne, Lil whoever, the worst of the worst rap crews, and Nicki Minaj and all the rest of them for a free concert. And then I would just like to drop a bomb on it and just get rid of that whole one and start over.
Mm-hmm. You know, it's a whole
Wait a minute. Wait a minute now. Wait a minute. That's some of your. Listen, I'm only talking because I'm looking at you, but that's some of your ancestor that you want to keep. Honor coming out in you. We can't do that now. We can't be.
Can't do that.
That's a couple. That's a couple of my kids that would go to that.
You see what I got on the page, Don? You see what I got on the page? We're coming for you now. Sister June Bailey said, I feel like men don't really respect women. Like our input is not valued. We have become so Euro-patriarchal in our relating to each other. And relating to each other. I think that's what you mean. In our relating to each other. You don't want to throw the bomb on them.
Right, some of them ain't gonna make it.
You don't want to do that.
I've come to grips with a certain portion of them. If you killing people over the music too loud, if you got no respect for anybody's life, your mother's life, your own kid's life, we're gonna try to save as many as we can. Those that can, we send them a little wisp, but don't show up that day. But
it seems like it's just across the board, because I'm not going to bash the brothers, even though some of them, a lot of them need to be bashed. And I wasn't stuttering.
A lot. That one of the songs that children sing a lot.
But it's very clear on both parts. It's a lot of damage that that has to be rectified. And I'm really sad when I'm seeing with our young parents. As I can say, and I'm going to do a popular one, like the singer Cardi B and what's her Future. This is what is setting an example for the family unit.
Negative lyrics.
Not just negative lyrics. So that's why I was like, healing is really necessary, because if that's the standard, I see people saying, like what do they call it? Hashtag relationship goals. Like, I'm like so surprised, So this is and this is by design. This is all about the destruction of the African family, the African unit, because all that's going to do is create more dysfunctional homes, more dysfunctional children, and eventually, nothing like that can survive unless it gets some healing. And so we got to do that ahead of time. So guys, I don't want to keep. I want to. Let's wind down the conversation. I'm sorry.
I want to start a band to chant down Babylon. Anybody want to start a band to chant down Babylon? Let my mothers know. That's what I'm on.
I'm skilled at chanting down Babylon.
Okay.
I go all night. Yeah.
Phyllis, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
So, where do you think?
Wait a minute, you're breaking up, Sister Aishi.
Okay, can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
Yeah, now we can hear you.
Okay, so I was saying that why do you think that happened? I know some things you read off earlier. Why do you think that happened, that breakdown between men and women? And what can we do about fixing that? Like, what are some solutions? And what do men want from us, and what do women want from us? What do women want from men? I'm sorry.
I honestly, I could say, I'm going to speak for myself, and just, because one of my beautiful sisters was, had mentioned like marriage to me earlier today. And I immediately cringed. I cringed. I was like, oh, I'm not ready for that. I was just like, I'm not, in my head. And I was like, oh, God, girl, pull it together. Because you know, what did I discuss earlier? We have signs of stress and trauma. And so I went immediately into re-experiencing. So a lot of us have to address these traumas because that's what causes us to interact with each other. So like reiterating, like re-experience thoughts and feelings that pop up in your mind, reliving what happened, what it feels like if it's happening again, getting upset at the reminder. I immediately displayed that behavior. So this is something I see that I still have to work on, you know? And a lot of us are like that. And I think the key thing is that we have to be aware when we're going through some of these signs of stress or trauma, which a lot of us just don't know, because this behavior that we're doing, when I seen what African families, how the units are, that's not something you see. So the majority of us are dealing with this post-traumatic stress that we dealt with living in the diaspora, but we're not even aware of it. So I think one of the things that we have to do is constantly making ourselves aware of it, understanding the signs, and knowing how to work through it. So that's what I'm actively doing, because every time I see myself display a sign, I'm like, okay, Allah, guide me to a better way of reacting to that, because I know right now I'm not ready, because I got to deal with all my trauma right now. But a lot of us are not aware of it, and so we keep jumping into these situations when we can still you can still be friends, have long engagements, whatever. But we have to learn to see these triggers so that we don't end up having another clash and another broken home and another fatherless child, or a motherless child, or because now it's different, it could be fatherless or motherless, the way things our society is set up. And so I think it's first recognizing why we are at odds with our brothers and sisters. Okay, I don't want to.
Can
Any
I
thoughts on that?
say
Any thoughts
something?
on that?
It, it
Can I
it's
just say something? Oh, I'm sorry. Go
Go
ahead.
ahead, Sister Adria.
no. I've been talking. Please, I really want to hear what you have to say.
Oh, you sure? You sure? Well,
I'm
I would
positive.
use myself as an example, but you said it so beautifully, when you said the art of communication. That's, that is like really key. But I would use myself as an example. Unfortunately, I grew up, my mom, she had divorced, so, pretty much she was a single mom of 5 kids. Needless to say, that did not go well in terms of us, growing up. So, with myself, I said, well, I'm going to do things differently, right? So, I got with my significant other. Unfortunately, I married a bad boy. So, he was a bad boy. He was one of those very
We
handsome.
love our bad boys.
Yeah, he was a bad boy. So I had 2 kids by him. And because, we were so different, just in our thinking and so on and so forth. So he eventually left. So of course I was, left to raise, my 2 kids, and he did not really participate, in their life. Now I'm not saying this to garner no pity. That's not my
Right.
point. So when that happened, I had to decide, okay, am I going to continue this cycle?
Mm-hmm.
Or am I going to do something to change this? Because I did not want my kids to go throughout life and be non productive and, have all of these terrible behaviors. So, what I decided to do, I knew for sure that teaching them integrity and values was going to be big. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
This is the thing we miss in our kids. So when they were small and growing up, because I had to work, I had to go to school, trust me, it wasn't easy to get a master's degree in nursing being a single mom. It was rough. So, but I had to, make a decision how I wanted things differently. And we have to be real intentional when we are raising our kids. So for me, because I am Christian, I know you all beautiful people are Muslim.
No, we're all different. We're all different.
Right.
Everybody.
Yeah.
I think only me and brother Saeed are Muslim. Oh, and sister Aishi. We're the only. Everyone else is of a different. So yeah, it's a very mixed panel.
Okay.
This is
So
one love.
right. Exactly.
This is a fallen rap.
I raised them around other people who were married, wife and husband. I had them to be role models for my kids. I also had my family members like my uncles, my brother. I would, take my kids around them so that so my son can get, this male perspective of, what he needed. And I also was very I guess you could say strict. So for example, I did not allow my kids to bring, girls or boys home, with this girlfriend, boyfriend stuff. But I also talked about loving themselves, valuing themselves, that their voice matters. You and not following the crowd and following the clique. So I started this early with my kids. So now let's talk about today, where my kids are at. My daughter, and I hope you all don't beat me over my head for saying this, but my daughter, she's a lieutenant in the military. She has finished, her college degree. She is a Chicago policeman. She is taking her sergeant exam. My son is an IT engineer. He's married. He has 5 kids. His wife is a journalist. So these were the fruits that came after the hard work, of me being very deliberate of how I wanted to raise my kids. I know being a female is very difficult, for me to raise my son, with that male perspective. So I had to be deliberate about where I wanted him to see positive role models. So we, as if for whatever reason we end up, single, we have to take on that deliberate, intention about how we want them to be raised in a positive environment. And so that's what I did for me. Now, for the adults, those of us who are adults and we have, all of these, traumas and behaviors, the first step, like you were saying, you have to be aware, you have to know yourself, and we have to make a decision. Okay, being this way is not getting us nowhere. It is not helping us, to have a healthy relationship, with the opposite sex. I know it's not easy. It's not easy, but honesty is the first great step to that. And I agree with Donnie. I think, and unfortunately, I say this because of 30 years of nursing. There are some people, and I know you're so compassionate, Empress, but it's some of us in our community who is so far gone, you can't bring them back. It's going to take, something unnatural to, you know what I'm saying, God
I
Himself.
think this is an unnatural thing that's happening now.
It is, yeah. And I see that great, think the great migration that's happening with us. I do see a real awakening that's happening to us. But some of us we're still asleep. We're still,
Mhm.
desiring, these people. I have to be careful how I say it.
Right.
We still
Mama,
Right.
looking
can
for
this
validation and approval. So
can I make one final comment about the couple situation and
Yeah, actually, let's
men
go
and women
around.
dynamic?
Let's go around and just go ahead and make our last comments,
Okay.
and so that we can end the discussion because this could go on all night. But
Yeah, yeah. So always know that, in a relationship, there's always background noise. There's always people giving their 2 cents. It's always haters and stuff like that. So one thing I know that has kept my husband and I strong is that we can just focus on each other and not other people's opinions and stuff like that. I know my parents, they raised 8 children. They kept us out of lockdown and out of hostile pits, and you know, I thought they were rude and disrespectful to each other. You know, physically abusive. At least my father. You know, my mother, um, verbally abusive to my father. You know, just say unnecessary things and stuff like that. But
Mm-hmm.
they kept it together for over 50 years, you know, when my father passed. And I'm living in their house now, you know, so
Mm-hmm.
they sacrificed so we can achieve. And if they had listened to us, if they had listened to other people or whatever, they wouldn't have stayed together. And they just were able to take each other, the good and the bad and the ugly, and still keep it together. And that's almost what you have to do, because everything isn't always convenient, everything isn't always nice, you know, you don't always agree in music, and you know, it's not always like that. But
Right.
we can do this, you know, we can do this. We've done it in the past, and we can reclaim it. And I just want brothers to know, I wouldn't have anyone less than a good brother, period, because that would be just settling for less. And I wouldn't want to settle for less. You're number one in my book. There's none greater. The earth awaits your leadership. The pride needs defending by a lion. Okay? So stand
Yes.
strong. I have
Yes.
nothing but love and respect for brothers and what you guys have to do, you know, just to survive life and maneuver this planet, you know, in the crosshairs of many a hater. And no, I, you know, I got your back. You know, I
And
got
I'm gonna
your
tell
back.
you,
I'm
she
glad
speaks
that you
the
have
truth.
mine, and I'm glad you have mine.
Yeah,
I
I
Yep.
watched this sister how she moved in the community, and she has the brothers back. She has the sisters back, you know, and that's what is needed. And you could tell she's no nonsense. So she's just going. If you're soft, you can't. Then get out the kitchen. You get out the kitchen. All right. Let's make a round. Sister Aishi, I know you have a small one. Let's let you say your last words, sis. I don't want to hold you up.
He's sleeping. I've mastered that tonight. I'm so proud of me. But I think what's imperative, and I stress this more often than not, is counseling. I know at one time it was presented to me because of, my grandmother who helped to raise me transitioning. And when it was presented to me at the time, this was probably 7 years ago, I was like, I don't need counseling. I just thought like it was so bad. And, you know, it, pridefully, if that's a word, is like people really shy away from it. But I would really say to work on you, before you get into the relationship and while you're in a relationship. So I hear a lot of people say premarital counseling, but I think counseling is something that's ongoing, because whatever trauma or whatever situation you face, it doesn't never fully go away. And sometimes it just rears its ugly head. It's like an addiction to drugs or anything else where it's dormant and anything can kind of set those traumas or issues that you've had off. So you need somebody to navigate. And I always say, with 400 years plus all the stuff that we currently go through, and then not to mention Jim Crow and just so many things, like we of all people definitely need to get some sort of counseling. If you don't want to call it that because of stigma behind it, you can call it, seeing a life coach, or I don't know, talking to a friend who is level headed, because not all your friends give good advice. So you have to be mindful of that. I think it's important, like the sister said earlier, to kind of like exclude people out of your relationship unless they are speaking to you from a godly perspective. Because I think a lot of times we have just received information from all over the place pertaining to relationships. And I think we need to press a restart button, or reset button rather, of every negative thing that we've heard about men and women, and just decide to fully love whoever is we're allowing to pursue us, or whoever we're pursuing, if that makes sense. So yeah, that person may hurt you possibly, but try not to go into it like that, like completely reset your button. And I know that is so hard to do, because when I think of the hurt from relationships, I think of like I don't know if y'all remember from Waiting to Exhale, and I don't want to use that movie tonight because it was kind of man bashing. But I remember the part where Aretha Franklin sang the song "It Hurt Like Hell." Remember, you could just feel like, I don't want to sing it, but I know a lot of us feel that way, right? Men and women, like we've been through a situation where it just hurt like hell, right? But we have to get help and healing ourselves. And like I said, pressing the reset button on all that we heard. I think our mothers sometimes give us bad advice. I've heard of many cases where people's mom has said stuff like, don't trust men, you better have, you better not depend on them. And I do believe in having finances set aside in case it does not work out, or he passes away or just anything. But to go into anything thinking it's not going to work out is such a bad way of thinking. So, in conclusion, I'm going to reiterate to press your reset button of all the negative things you heard from media, family, friends, and just really starting from tonight, think positively about your brothers and your sisters and give them the benefit of the doubt, give them mercy, but also hold them accountable.
Yeah.
And just try to speak life into them. And I'm going to conclude with that.
Yeah, because you can speak firmly and keep people accountable without disrespecting them. And I think a lot of us lost that balance, or we just don't care. I come from my brothers all the time, but I know how to say it in a way that they receive it, and they don't even realize I'm coming for them because I know how to serve it to them. And that's the key. A lot of us walked away, or we don't recognize our feminine power. And so we have to tap into that feminine power and use it for the benefit of our community, because it only helps everyone.
Absolutely.
Like that, what is it? A happy wife make a happy home. That comes for our community as well. So that's where the brothers have to step up and make sure that their wife or their sister or whatever is taken care of and protected, because that's what all we want to feel protected. I can't say I really ever felt that way here, and I could be surrounded in a room full of men and I don't feel protected. Actually, I felt quite the opposite. So that narrative have to change. I'm sorry, who African millennial mama, African millennial, sorry my sister, are you still with us or have you gone?
Yeah, I'm still here.
I know you've been listening intently. Any thoughts you would like to share with us? Because you're in that generation that I think a lot of us, our children, are in, correct? So your voice is necessary.
Oh, absolutely. I will address them especially because they're not off the hooks either. But what I will say is that we honestly just need to talk to each other more. Like what we're doing here right now is great. And I know that some people on this panel or some people on this chat, like there really isn't the mechanism to talk to others. And that's the problem. That's the reason why we have a lot of internal issues. As someone mentioned before, counseling is wonderful, but I'll be honest with you, like where I come from and where we are, a lot of people don't have access to that. So I feel like even just having family meetings or more committee stuff just for people like us is really good. Like we need to just have our own spaces. And I understand that with this pandemic, it's a little bit difficult, but even these online Zoom meetings, offline meetings are really effective. Like you can literally talk to your family, Zoom online and hash it out in private if you so wish to do so. Now, in terms of relationships, I will admit I don't have too much experience with that, but when we talk about relationships, it can be any type of relationship. So, as someone mentioned before, one thing that I've noticed with parenting over here that does bother me is that a lot of parents over here are too easy. Like there isn't enough discipline with how people raise their kids, because in school they're not getting any discipline. Like the worst thing about school is if a kid acts up nowadays, you go to the principal's office. That's not really punishment, right? So there's really nobody that is disciplining these kids, and that's something that we could talk about in the future. But you really have to take parenting really seriously when these kids are young, because they're being targeted really, really heavy right now. So we just have to pay more attention to that.
And I think that's one of the goals, to get the for the youth to fight against the parents, so that way, like things like this agenda that they've already started implementing is more effective, because now the children are. I think it's I can't I think if I remember, there's something in the Bible that says the children will be parenting the parents. I don't remember the exact verse, but that this is kind of reminding me of that, that it's actually happening. We're seeing it happen, because now children are getting as much rights and control over things that were always a parent's, and historically always a parent's role, to protect and to look out. It's like now the child is given the power where they don't need the parent, because they can do it all themselves at their own detriment. And so it's an interesting thing. Like the children, definitely, we have to figure out a way to make sure that they're protected. Definitely. Happy companion, brother.
Yes. Hey.
All right,
What's going on?
one of the last two men, and I know, alhamdulillah, thank you for staying with us. Now we're gonna put you in the pot. We're gonna put you in the fire.
Boiling. Make sure it's not too hot now. Come on.
Yeah, you
Water.
know what they say: more fire, more fire, more fire. Bring it. Bring the fire.
Bring the
You can
fire.
handle it.
Fire. All right. Let me see. I think appreciation for both genders is very important. A lot of times we all feel like we're not being appreciated, and then communicating how our needs of appreciation is a factor as well. Because if you're not being appreciated, you need to figure out a way how to express that in a positive manner instead of getting angry. This is both male and female, because we kind of lash out at each other without really like thinking about the consequences of our actions and what it may cause. So I think how our response to it, I think it's like if we are in need or something, like appreciation for whatever we do. It could be like just taking out the trash, or maybe working. It could be a minimum wage job. It could be something. Food is still being put on the table. People are, the family's being taken care of the best way they are able to do it. And so I think that just a little appreciation and caring, and just some positive affirmation, so that the male or the female would know that they are, that they loved in that way, and that their work that they do for the family is equally important, not just for the man, not just for the woman. Like everybody share their role, and their role is respected. Another thing I think is that, um, you know, a lot of times that physical attraction is good and intimacy is very good, but I think that should be saved for marriage. And the reason why, it's like it's too much premarital things going on, and
Yeah.
it's not very healthy. And it's like I think a lot of the sisters feel like they have to give in to pressures, or I got to keep this man if I don't satisfy him, and it's like it's kind of disheartening, and it's very distasteful for our queens to have to go through that kind of ordeal, because and us men need to keep that in mind. So I think the sisters should try to, if you are in eating brothers or whatever, go out for coffee, go out for tea, go out for something that's simple, because a lot of times the more the brother would spend money on dinner and movies, the more his brother is gonna, so-called brother, whatever you would say, is gonna expect certain things. And I say just keep it simple, be friends as much as possible, and let the person know that your ultimate, if it is your ultimate um, uh, decision, your ultimate purpose is for marriage and for long-term commitment in that matter. That's what I think. That's my opinion. And I think that, if we can control those, that type of, attraction and keep it, celibacy, wherever it is. And I think it's better in the long run. That's just my two Delacies, everyone. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
and I think that's where the media is a play with the programming, because our youth, like that horrific Netflix movie that came out,
yeah.
that totally sexualized. It was on to a pornographic level in my mind of 11-year-olds. Isn't this? You see how this is all in alignment, guys. This just came out about 11-year-old girls. They sexualized them in
Yeah.
this movie. Everything, they are targeting a specific age group.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to be, so now we're going to have, children making decisions about, you know those type of things, and they're going to be looking at their parents like their parents don't know what they're talking about, because the school, the government, everyone is standing behind them, saying that they're old enough and educated enough to make these type of decisions for themselves. So why not, can they not make that next kind of decision for themselves? So we have to be really diligent, and um, this is where we have to really bring the sweet and the honey out for our youth, because we're going to be demonized in their eyes by all these outside sources that really want to get control of our youth's mind. So we have to play the game better than they play it, and be smarter at it than they are. And so this type of discussion will we have to put the seed in it, because what we're seeing, the behavior that I'm seeing in our community is divisive. First, it
Yes.
started between the man and the woman,
Mm-hmm.
and you saw what it did to our community. And I see it on a daily between mothers and fathers and their children. And we got to make sure that if we see it, we can't be afraid to speak up and advocate for our children, because it's a different kind of entity and energy that's coming for them now. Um,
Yes.
and when you had mentioned the 1974, I wanted to come back, but I didn't want to uh,
Okay.
cut the flow of it, Brother Saeed.
Yes.
1974 is when the Kissinger report, which is the what's the name of the report? I'm sorry, I'm going back. I have all these. You should see my screen. It's crazy. The National Security Study Memorandum, the NSSMM 200. It was first written December 10th, 1974, and that was part of the history. We were showing how they systematically had things in place. So in that report, they talked about depopulation. They talked about um, controlling, our community through uh, re, sex, um, removing elderly care as an option, so that people don't think they need to have children for elderly care. How AIDS was in this report in 1974. So things were addressed before we even knew about it, and we tied it into this whole B23-0171 bill that they passed. So it all ties up, so that sometimes you have to give people an outline and dates and times and regimes and who we were under, to get a real picture of what it is, because otherwise you're going to be called a conspiracy theorist, and this is not a conspiracy. These are hard facts that was written, and I just wanted to show everyone what the resource was, so that we could see the timeline, and then even to where um, Gates, and because African Millennial Mama, she did a video on it, which Bill Gates in 2015 has discussed the virus before we even knew it existed, and how it was,
Mm.
what it was going to do to it. So all these things are, it's a timeline, and
Mm.
to the exception of this vaccine, this bill was been sitting around since 2019. So that's why I said they're coming for our children. That's the next step. They systematically, you know, so we have to make sure we come with the resources, family, and the knowledge and how so that we can protect our community and continue to grow and flourish. Um, so did I say that? Did you you got it now?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a lot
You
to think
imagine
about.
I was just like this, like, oh man, I was like, I was like, okay, I have to come with the receipts, because if I don't come with the receipts, then it's just me talking air, so that we can actually have, like, really think about what we need to do to help each other to make sure that we continue, because now we know what they're doing here, but the Kissinger report was focused on Africa. We're like a residual. They practiced on us for the bigger agenda. So it's interesting. So that's why I was like, our African brothers and sisters really need to be. We know the diabolical behavior, and we all sat here and talked about it. So, Brother Donnie, I'm sorry. Any last words for you? It's a lot of information we're
Yeah.
sharing here. I know.
Um, I guess I would just say for the family, African millennial, if you see them concert tickets come out to that stadium, don't show up, because it's not for you. Because they walk around with their pants around their knees, around their ankles, and disrespectful. And we already know they getting a ticket to go. But the rest of us, I think we need to seriously look at what we can do on every level to combat this thing. I know the powers that think they run the world have. I think they really don't understand or realize why we still here. We've been trying to been exterminated for the last 500 years, and we still here. I think they think we like roaches or something when they talk about roaches don't never die. Nuclear bomb, anything happen, and they still gonna be walking around. So how many different ways can they have tried to destroy us, and we still here? So I'll say we still going to be here, but there are some things that we can do with the family, sisters. Like I said, that my last little example, your man just don't want to hear you yelling and screaming the things that you want from him. So a kind word will go a long way to get what you want. And at the same time, we can clean our shoes off and do that stuff before we come in the door that we know is going to be a trigger. So if we both work on our ends on trying to avoid the triggers in the relationship, then they work better. But when the relationship works well, it should be a partnership. So we should be working together. If we're in this going through this minefield and we're in this Jeep with the machine gun in the back, if I'm driving the Jeep, then my wife need to be on machine gun sniping people and looking for landmines. And if I can't do it, then she need to be driving and I need to be doing the same. So it's about partnership, and it's about protecting the family. I would say leave. It's time to go. I mean, it's too much stuff they doing that we're not gonna have any control over. If you living inside DC, I would move immediately, because you have no more power as a parent when it comes to protecting your children. They circumvent the religious option, or then what else do you have to say that? So they basically gonna do what they want. And this vaccine that hasn't been tested, that they plan on testing on us, I say don't do it. I've never known them to give us anything first. They ain't gave us a reparation check. They ain't gave us no cheap loans. Anything that we've ever needed to leave them alone and do our own thing, they never gave us. But suddenly now, y'all want us to be the first because y'all feel that we need it the most on a vaccine that y'all haven't tested on nobody and don't know what the results are going to be. So don't do it. don't do it. I would say leave. I got plenty of family that don't want to go, and they tell me all the complaints about, you know, how bad things are. Just said somebody just got murdered over turning the music up. There was another brother just got married over a sandwich in his hand.
You know, it's nonsense. It's nonsense.
Yeah, so this stuff is not going to stop. It's going to continue getting worse, and the only hope that we have is to go back to the continent and be around more melanated people, and hope and pray these puppet leaders we got over there that, well, at least we got a better shot. We got a better shot than dealing with them than the ones that's over here, because they clearly falling for anything, and we all test dummies, and we no longer competent to be parents in their book, and now the state is everybody's parent now. They gonna, once they do it to them, they're gonna be telling us you gotta get it. I think I heard somebody say it to go to work. You want to go to work. You're a first responder. You're a nurse. You got to get it first. They did the same thing with the flu shot.
And you know that they're gonna hit the poor people the hardest. Your food stamps and your housing and what have you.
Yeah, if you don't got a card and you ain't been vaccinated, then you won't get the assistance you need. You won't be able to work. You won't be able to go to school. But the only problem is the way they doing it. I mean, it's bad enough what it is, but they're not even looking at the fact that who's already had it, who hasn't had it. I've never heard them vaccinate someone for a disease that they don't have any symptoms for, or finding out if they already went through it and the process and made it. So it's just too many unknowns to deal with it.
Yeah.
So I leave it there.
Yeah, and this I just, you know, we're all aware of all that, you know, like the vaccine, but I just want, you know, us to be mindful of that. In order for them to implement these things, there has to be a disconnect between all of us. If we're all united and we're all on the same page and we're all doing the same thing, because from what I've researched, and if I'm incorrect, please someone put it in the chat and correct me, but I believe it's something like the chances of you anything terrible, really, really terrible from getting the vaccine, catching the actual the COVID, you have a high chance of recovery. There are cases of those who don't recover, but it's not as high. You know, the numbers are not as high as those who do recover. I don't know how true it is.
Yeah, it's
You know,
like 97 and
I'm not in the
94%.
hospitals, but that's what I've heard. I've met several people. I've known several people who have had it and recovered. And they're like, "Oh, I'm okay." You know, their children have got it and recovered. And then I have a couple of people that I know who did pass away from it, but they had preconditions. You know, they had issues already. They already had a very compromised immune system. So that's why I really tell people to push towards getting your immune system and your health up so that you can protect yourself, because the chances are high if you are sick. And they're saying that our community, they want us to get this first, you know, because they don't do anything for us because they care. But we also have the highest diabetes and high blood pressure and all these other issues that other communities don't have. So of course we're going to be affected the highest, because Africa, if you look at Africa, they're the least in the world. But look how healthy they are in comparison to us over here. So that's the difference.
Can I say this real quick? Because along with it reminds me of back when AIDS first came out, and how the actually COVID is. It seems as though the people that die, like you said, the people that already have autoimmune problems, or they got lung issues or stuff. So I think a lot of these people that are dying, you know, it's like with AIDS. You don't die from AIDS, you die from pneumonia, or you die from something else other than what the actual disease was. And you know, until they figure out something that work, which they probably not, because I don't remember them curing. I can't remember the last thing they ever cured. So I mean, I don't know, but I think that's the issue dealing with it. It's not going to help. All it's going to do is make it worse. And everybody with a compromised immune system are going to be the ones that are the targets. So
Can
I
I
don't
add to
know.
that?
Yeah.
Were you finished, Donnie?
No,
I didn't
no.
interrupt you. Well, with the coronavirus, there's about 7 different strains, maybe more. And so some of the strains is not as deadly, but then there is a couple of strains that is deadly. And so it's kind of like the Russian roulette type of thing. So if
Okay.
you get the deadly one, it doesn't matter whether you get pre-existing conditions or not. It is very, dangerous. But
I
there's
didn't know
a
they had 7 different ones. So now
Right. I
we
didn't know
got
that
7 strains. I
either.
thought it was just one.
Because you're
yeah,
hearing so much information, you're just like, what? What? So it's
mhm.
7. Okay.
Yeah, 7 different strains. So
Wow.
some of the strains is not that bad, but there's a couple that is deadly. And if you get that one, it really doesn't matter,
Uh,
like how young and how healthy you are. And I have to be honest, I've had young, healthy people who have died. So, yeah.
Wow.
Can I just ask 2 questions? First of
No, go
all,
ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. I was going to give you the last word. So, yes.
beautiful
No, that's why I saved you for last.
Okay, beautiful Empress. If you don't mind, please put my YouTube channel in your description and for
Yes.
everybody to, at least.
Can you type it in the private chat really quick and I can put it up for everyone?
You can do it maybe
What's the
later.
name of it?
It's Renee, professional nurse developer.
Yes. Oh, yes. Please, family, go uh, check her channel out. She's an educator, a nursing
And I
educator.
promise I haven't put nothing up there yet. I am an old lady. I'm probably the oldest person on the panel. I am definitely over 50. So I'm not that good with the YouTube, okay? So forgive me for that. But I wanted to ask the happy companion. I have a
Yes.
question for him.
Okay.
Uh, I wanted to ask you, how do you cope with the expat depression from your loved ones who are in the States?
Hmm. Meaning for their reaction toward me being gone.
No, you missing them. How do you deal with that?
you know, uh, I'm a military guy, 30 years military. So I traveled around the world. I've been around the world. And for me, when I'm overseas, I'm really at my best. I like to enjoy the new sounds, the new smells, the tastes. I get excited. So yeah, I mean, communication is a key. I just communicated with my daughter just now while we was on the live just now. See how she's doing, and pictures and video clips and things like that from them. It used to be letters and mail back in the day, but now you don't have to worry about that. It's so instantaneous. You can send a message, so that helps a lot. And just that communication and so I don't really feel, honestly, I don't feel that because my experience, like I said, been overseas a lot and stuff, so been away, and I don't feel like I don't have the depression in that sense. But sometimes I get a little homesick when I think about my friends and family. Sometimes, yeah, I do. But then I'm looking at this adventure that I'm in right now and the purpose that I'm dealing. I feel like this is very important to me, and it's making me, you know, uh, open my eyes to a different life. I plan to spend the rest of my life in a natural homeland, and so when I see this, as this occurs and day by day, I'm getting stronger, not weaker, because of what we're doing on YouTube with this collaboration that I have with my family on YouTube here, and I'm inspiring my family in the States to come here, even to visit, at least to visit. So that's what keeps me inspired and not really uh, lonely and stuff, because every day is pretty much an adventure here for me. It's just something different that I haven't experienced, and some things that I have, but it rekindles that spirit that I had years ago of wanting to go over to the continent and actually live. So I'm fulfilling my dreams right now. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, because I
Good,
really
great
think
question.
I'm gonna miss my kids and grandkids, but I
Hmm.
have to go. But thank you, Empress. Thank you so much, Saeed, right?
Yes, ma'am. Saeed. Yes.
Okay. Well, thank
And
Nice
you.
to meet you.
and
Nice
everyone,
to
this
meet you.
is Renee's YouTube channel. Renee Letitia Renee, professional nurse developer. That's her
Okay.
YouTube channel.
Great.
Yeah, I had to go. I was like, let me find it real quick so I can. I didn't want to write it incorrectly. That was that. All you had to share with us,
Always good. Thank you
It
so
was
much.
it was Renee. What? I'm gonna try to type it in to
Renee.
subscribe.
Renee. Okay, the Renee, the professional nurse developer. Let me see if
Yeah,
I can
no
put it.
blah in there. Renee, professional
Oh no,
nurse. I
yeah.
mean, Renee, professional
I'm
nurse
gonna put it
developer.
in the chat as well.
Okay, Renee Professional. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I just put it in the chat as well.
yeah.
Okay. So just to share some resources really quick, family. I like to give some resources to follow back up on. So let's see. These are two books that we recommend. And it's some other ones. I think I have them in the description, but The Color of Law, A Forgotten History of How Our Government Segregated America, and Medical Apartheid. That, especially Medical Apartheid, family, if you get the book, you'd be surprised how many of us have been in the book. I've been in there a couple of times. So, it's definitely real. So that's definitely a book I suggest you get, and that way you can really get a clear understanding of how real this situation could be. We have to protect ourselves on all levels. Um, this is another homeschooling resource. There's a lot of homeschool options out here, and a lot of us are homeschooling our children. They could probably also direct you to some homeschool collectives in your area, in your community. And then we have the Community Healing Network, where they also have an outline to help you start that process of having those open dialogues with your family to try to work on your communication and healing skills, and even do groups. I know, like me and Sister Aisha Kiba, we have a couple of sisters group. We have a non-denominational group where it's all different religions, where sisters we're working together to help heal and build each other. And then we also have our Islamic sister group. So create groups within your community. The men need to do that. Different rites of passages. We have to really start working with each other and learning to work out our differences, and especially sisters, you educate a woman, you educate a nation. And if we stay at odds with each other, we can't build, we can't nation build. um and so what I'm going to start doing, I have a blog called the EmpressKiddis.com. That's the website. It's called the Global Green Book blog. And right now I'm behind, but what I'm going to start doing is start sharing a lot of these resources that we have on here so that we can have like a centralized area, and then also feature different organizations, and so that we can, I'm going to do my little part, but give me a little bit of grace, because like I said, it's a work in progress. I'm learning how to do all this stuff. It's new to me, but I'm working on it. And then, yeah, I think I got everything. And so I just want to thank everyone for coming and uh, putting your input into tonight. It was a lot. It was a lot of conversation. It was good conversation. It was a needed conversation. So this time, it's just time for us to put in the work and keep on sharing the information, educating each other, and I'm going to share with you all my outro commercial. I'm getting a little better at this. I'm sorry, you all. Just sit 1 second, then we're going to end this program. So. Sip your way to Skinny. It's time to try Skinny Brew. This beneficial coffee blend burns fat, enhances your energy, fires up your metabolism, and sharpens your focus. Plus, it's perfect for intermittent fasting or a low-carb lifestyle. Elevate your morning routine with something new to sip on. Sleepy tea, relax and unwind with this soothing herbal blend that helps you calm your mind, release muscle tensions, and fall asleep effortlessly. Immunity, the best health defense is a struggle immune offense. Support your overall immune function with just one glass of immunity a day. And I'm not going to read the whole thing. Thank you for taking the first step towards a new you. For all your wellness needs, go to tiebykadis.com. So that's my commercial. I appreciate, love you all. And hopefully you all will grace my panel again. And I just want to thank you all for so much taking your time out and sharing your thoughts and knowledge and your information. And thank you.
Thank you. Peace and power to the panel and the chat.
Yeah.
Likewise, peace and blessings, everybody. Thank you for having me on. It's an honor, sister. Thank you so much, everybody. Much love to the channel, to the chat, and everybody on the panel.
Good night,
Good night.
everyone.
Good night,
Bye.
everybody.
All right. I think Sister she must have went to sleep. So I want to thank everyone in the chat. Thank you all so much for being here. Hey, Sanav, you got to watch the replay. It was a lot of information, sis. You'll appreciate love it. I've uncovered a lot of a lot. So thank you for coming. Greetings, Prince Ayoko. I missed you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I hope you watched the replay. So everyone is saying hello. I just want to make sure I thank you, Gail. It was a lot of information to cover. Blessing hosts and panels and members. So yes, send me some info because I'm going to start updating the website, Global Green Book, so that it can be a resource center for us. We want to get as much information in one central location so that we can share it with our community. And so you're welcome. Thank you, Sammy, for grace showing tonight. I appreciate love you. Thank you, Amina. I appreciate love everything that you've done, Amina. I really do. Oh, thank you, Africa. Here I come. You all make me blush. Thank you. Amina Gail Lockus. Hello, Queen. Sanav. I love seeing my sisters. You all are so beautiful. Blessed night, Ruth Reggae Girl One. Thank you. Everyone stay. No. I'm about to say goodnight. Assalamualaikum, Prince Ayoko. Thank you so much. I much appreciate love you as well. So welcome and thanks, Jumbar. Welcome. Thank you. So that's it for tonight. So hopefully Monday you all be back and we can have a conversation. I want to do something lighter. I'm an empath, so this took a lot. You all have a good one. And TW, welcome. You're gonna have to catch the replay, my sis. Definitely. All right. Assalamualaikum, family. Good night.